Long way, get this shit a long way, shit a long way. Long way, hit it long way, 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 shit long way, 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 shit a long way. Gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit a long way, finish rich, yeah. Gotta get the shit a long way, get the shot of no shit, don't really understand, man. Gotta know what she don't really understand, man. Gotta get a meal, but she don't understand, she be tripping every day, she be tripping every way. But I gotta get this shit a long way, yeah. Tryna get money every single way, tryna get money every single day, yeah. Get money every single way, every day. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. I'm feeling like we be the new slaves. No, we gotta finish rich. No, we gotta finish rich. Got a new bitch, she don't understand rich. She don't understand, niggas gotta get rich. She don't understand, sometimes we gotta hit lit. No, we ain't hit lit. Tryna get the long way, yeah. Tryna get the shit the long way, yeah. Coach is tryna wrap up a entree. Told you the other day that did my phone strong. We gon' shoot the long way, we gon' get the long way, yeah. Yeah, I get the shit the long way. My bitch be trippin' back and forth like a pong way. My name is Tari, I ain't playing games, so I'm done Tari. Yesterday she told me that she about to leave, man. Said fuck it, bitch, we gon' get some money. Said fuck it, bitch, I'm about to get some money. So what I do today, I want to get some money, yeah. We gon' get the shit the long way, we gon' get shit the long way, yeah. Back and forth like the pong way, yeah. Man, I'ma get the shit the long way, get the shit the long way. Just the only way today, because they go with shit's crazy. You gotta wear a mask, we the new slaves, and we be wearing this shit like every day. We be okay, we gon' be okay, they gon' be okay, they gon' be okay for me, yeah. So we gon' get this shit the long way, 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 yeah, we get this shit the long way, yeah, cause we gon' be okay, we gon' be okay, yeah, we gon' get the long way, yeah.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to another edition of Savings Minus Debt. I'm your host, LJ. What's up, Aaron? Be the first one in here. Hello, everyone. Again, I'm LJ, the founder of SMD. And I am here to share my gift. And my gift is I understand that capitalism is psychological. All right. And as the title of this video says, genius, because that's exactly what psychological capitalism is. It's genius, pure genius. And since I've had the privilege of understanding it, discovering it, that's because that's a privilege. To have discovered it, that means I'm genius too. Because if psychological capitalism is genius, and now that I understand that it exists, that means I'm genius too. That's what that means. And how do I come to this conclusion? Because math says it's so. That's how. And with understanding that capitalism is psychological, it's clear that it's oligarchy. Clearly. That's crystal clear. I have no problem with it. Understand it. Understand how it works. It is what it is. So you're probably thinking, what is your goal, LJ? To be one of the biggest motivational speakers in the world. But this is the difference. I already know I am. The world is the one that doesn't know yet. See, that's the difference between becoming one and, there's people out there that strive to be it. Oh man, one day I'm gonna be the biggest. No, you got to be one in your mind first. You have to believe in yourself, and that's what I do. So I see it first, then I tell my subconscious mind about it, and then I create it. You're probably thinking, how can this dude get on the mic and say he's something that he's not? Nobody's ever heard of him. I can only imagine the millions of things people say in their brains as I say it out loud, because you don't see it yet. I do. And with me saying it out loud, my subconscious hears it. And then once I keep repeating it over and over, it creates it. That's how it works. But first, you have to have faith in yourself, believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe you can do something in your mind, you showing the fuck ain't gonna say it out loud. You're not. Because if you imagine driving through a nice neighborhood with just ridiculous size houses and yards and property. Subconsciously in your mind, you're thinking to yourself, I will never be able to afford that house. You're not going to say it out loud, but you're saying it to yourself in your mind. And what you don't know, you're telling your subconscious that's what you're doing. You're telling it, hey, I'll never be able to do it. And it just obliges in reality. That's how it works. First, I thought it was just, getting people out of debt. But it's more than that, way more than that. Understanding this changes your entire life and your family line, generation. It changes all that for those that will listen. When you discover the privilege of understanding that capitalism is psychological, I know for a fact I was the only person holding myself back the whole entire time when I was in the debt matrix, when I was a debt slave. And if you're new to the channel, you're probably thinking to yourself, what is a debt slave? You guys are not even going to say that out loud in public, but you're saying it in your minds. I know you are. I do. What's a debt slave? Debt slaves believe things that are not mathematically true. If it's not mathematically true, it's psychological for you. So for debt slaves are people that I'm going to try to simplify this as much as possible. Debt slaves don't believe what they see on the calculator. And if you don't believe the calculator, you have a psychological problem, period. There's nothing past that. Nothing goes anywhere because math says it's so. So you stay right there and say, well, how come I don't believe it? And if you ignore it and pretend like, hey, whatever, I got equity and appreciation, and you see a large negative number on the calculator, you have a psychological problem. That makes you a debt slave. That makes you a debt slave. And when you get here, nobody's holding you back. Not all the white people are mean, and the white people did this and that. That's all. I'm just here to tell you. Believe it or not, it's totally up to you. That's all part of the program. Money's green. Money is the color of green. Period. If you're talking about it, if you're talking about money, guess what? You're green. When I talk about money, I'm green. I don't really I don't care the color of your skin, where you live, what neighborhood you grew up, whatever. When you when you have this ability, you see things very differently than millions of other people. Like, let me give you an example, okay? Now, Bank of America decided they were going to get zero down loans to everybody if you have a pulse and you paid your light bill on time. 1 week after the announcement of President Biden moving student loan debt payments to January of 2003. 1 week later. Why'd they do that? Because they had to wait to hear what he was going to say. Because if he would have announced that the payments were going on right now, they were going to continue September 1st, zero down loans wouldn't have happened. Hold on. Zero down loans wouldn't have happened. And all of the houses they have been building over the summer would have been pointless to build. You understand? Now they said, hey, these loans are for Black and Latino neighborhoods. Neighborhoods. You know what the debt slaves run with? Black and Latino people. They didn't say people. No, they did not say people. They said neighborhoods. That's how you get around that. What you gonna say? No white people live in Latino neighborhoods? No, yes, white people live there too. Did you know black people live in Latino neighborhoods and Latino people live in black neighborhoods? Did you guys know that? That's why you can say neighborhoods and not people. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I was always wondering, why were they building so many houses? Why is the bank building all these houses and complexes and apartments and all this shit? Why are they doing that? Because they're about to do a big move. Here it is. Look at that. You know how many Black and Latino people that are going to jump all over that? Millions. Millions of you guys are. Millions. Every single one of you believe in your homeowners with absolutely no money. Where in the world can you buy a house with no money? Yet you believe you can, you do or can or whatever, right? That's just a psychological problem. I'm here to tell you something. That's how it's supposed to be. I'm not against it. I don't care that the banks are having you guys do that because you don't trust in math. You guys don't know to ask the question, hey, which color race trusts math the most when it comes to money? You guys don't know to ask that question? You know who it obviously is? White people. That's not a, you guys say it all the time. Hey, the white people got all the money. That's why do you think they have it? Because they trust math when it comes to money. That's it. There's nothing, it's not the color of their skin, if that's what you think. Because well, I understand why you think it looks like that. I mean, I don't even know how to word it. Okay, just the way I said it. Maybe more white people trust math when it comes to money. Maybe they're the most. It's clearly an oligarchy. Clearly. And I don't care. Capitalism has been here for centuries. And it's all over the world. Do you understand what I'm saying? Capitalism is the majority economy. Why is that? because it works. That's why. But you must first understand that capitalism is psychological. Once you understand that, that means I know more than billions of people with a B because capitalism is worldwide. Everybody has their own flavor. It really doesn't matter. What you need to understand is that it's psychological. Now, a lot of people come over and say, "Hey, LJ, you're telling about the system. You know, the big bad wolf don't like that." Once you understand economies cannot work without people, there must be people that know and there must be people that do not know because we all die. We all die. But in order for it to work, the majority must not know, and there must be a few of us that do know. That's how it works. And it's all a choice. You either trust the calculator or you don't. If you don't, that's where you're going to stay for the rest of your life in the debt matrix. You're going to live there forever, believing finance and phones and gap insurance and 15% car loan interest rates on cars, financing cars 100% of the cars. No, that's the debt matrix. Upside down in cars and thinking it's okay to keep student loans your entire life. Only debt slaves do that. I'm here to tell you, only debt slaves do that. Only debt slaves have 2 mortgages on the same house. Did you know when you have 2 mortgages on the same house, you know what that really says? That you don't know what that says? You don't know why you needed the first if you got 2 mortgages on one house. First of all, it's not normal to have a mortgage on a house. That's not normal. That's normal for debt slaves. But when they get 2 of them on the same house, that says they really don't know. They doubly do not know. But yet you guys say it out loud like it's nothing. Hey, I took out a second mortgage, paid off the cars and houses, and redid the basement, added a pool or whatever. You guys really believe in your brains that you're actually doing that to a house that you didn't even have the money to buy. You guys believe that in your brains. And it's not mathematically true. So that means that's a psychological thing in your brain that you think you're doing that. When you guys use words like leverage and equity and appreciation, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. Nothing, none, zero. All of what you're talking about belongs to the owner. The equity of the house belongs to the owner, which is who? The bank. That's why you're making payments. You make payments to the owner, which is the bank. Owners don't make payments. If you owned your house, no mortgage, you wouldn't be making payments. See what I'm saying? That's the difference. That's my goal. The largest motivational speaker, one of the largest motivational speakers in the world. Now, did I have this goal when I was first getting out of debt? No, I didn't have this goal to become a genius. Becoming a genius wasn't on my list of things. It wasn't, hey, I'm gonna get out of debt and become a genius. No, it don't work like that. I'm just here to tell you that it doesn't work like that. But when you know for a fact, like I do, that I know something that billions of people do not know, yeah, I guess that considers that. Yes, it does. Because I can mathematically prove it. And see, that's the wonderful thing about my genius. I can prove it. That's the difference. That's the difference then between a lot of geniuses out there. You just don't know why. Why are they? How are they so smart? How does he know how to build a rocket and do all this other stuff, right? Which is it's still genius, but you can't really explain it. With my genius, I can use a calculator to physically show you something that's only psychological. I can show you on the calculator. I can put you there. You know how they always say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. That's what that scenario is. If I open up the if we open up the calculator and you put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance, and you see a large negative number, okay, we're both looking. Imagine us, both of us looking at the same calculator. We both see a large negative number, but you're the only one that doesn't believe it. Because it's you. I believe the calculator, but you don't. You still believe you're a homeowner. That means you have a psychological problem. Do you understand? That's the only thing it could mean. And when you argue against me, whether in comments or in your mind or as you're listening to me, this what I want you to. I'm gonna give you a physical representation of what it sounds like to me when you try to argue mathematics. If I said to you, 1 plus 1 equals 3. Convince me otherwise. What would you do? What would you do? If I said 1 plus 1 equals 3, convince me otherwise. Would you try to convince me, or would you just walk away? Because trying to convince me that it's really 2, that'd be a total waste of the time in your life, right? Yeah, that's how I feel when people try to do that. Shout out to Antoine for the 9.99 super chat. Thank you, sir. Always appreciate it. Miss B, Arlene, thank you. Keep speaking the hard truth. I do not believe how much I enjoy looking through my credit report. It brought back so many memories of my past misdeeds, but also showed my financial growth. I even found a few errors. You know what I'm saying? And that's part of the process too, Arlene, because that's exactly what I did until it's blank. Once it's blank, you ain't going to look at it no more, but you're going to be going through it. You're going to be like, damn, I did that. How long did I do that? God damn. Then you're just going to keep going through it and going through it, and then you're going to fix these things. Don't don't delete any history though. Do not delete any history, because that's the plus, okay? But leave everything there. Don't erase anything. Just leave it, okay? Because it helps your credit score, and we use it as a tool. So you still want it good, but just use it as a tool. So but just go through it, correct all the errors. And I promise you, the things that you will be doing on your credit report, the credit report agencies will know why you're doing those, because debt slaves don't know to do the things you're doing. Debt slaves are too busy trying to get debts that they legally created removed from their credit report. That's why they pay so many people to say, "Hey, can you do this? I need to raise my credit score. What you want me to do?" Basically, remove some debts that I don't want to pay. Can you do that? And then they pay these scammers or whatever people something. That's what they do. Can you imagine? That's a pattern. And like debt slaves, you guys don't know you have a pattern of doing that. That's all you guys, millions of you guys do that. That means they get plenty of practice for what you guys do, because you guys follow the same pattern because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. But you guys do the same thing. You think because you do it a different way, it's somehow different than what you're doing. The same goal is to get rid of debts that you don't want to pay for, because you guys don't know. Your credit report tells about you. Your credit report shows how you treat the business of yourself. You guys don't know that. So as soon as you guys start doing, just scammy shit like that, what just go. All I would do if that was my job, all I would do is just go straight to your credit report. That's what all I would do, and it would tell me if it's true or not. Say like something scammy happened when you're doing something, and then all of a sudden you try to claim it wasn't you, it was fraud. I would just go straight to your credit report first, and it'll tell me if it's true or not. Because let me give you an example. If something fraud happened on my credit report, like somebody bought something under my credit card and and then it alerted me and it said, hey, no, I saw it. And then I called my credit card company and said, hey, it wasn't me. I guarantee you this, and this is just my opinion because I don't work for credit card companies. But the first thing I would do if I was the credit card company is look at my personal credit report. And if they saw my credit report, which they have access to, obviously, because it's their system, once they see it and I owe no debts and no collections, I clearly own myself because no business in there owns me. They're going to know it's for a 100% fact it's fraud because I wouldn't do anything like that. Because look at my credit report. My credit report reflects the business of me. Would I ruin the business of me over a $200 credit card fraud thing? No, I would not. I would not do that. That's the difference. But debt slaves, you guys don't know that. That's why this is genius. It's absolutely genius, which makes me genius. Do you understand? I'm already one of the biggest motivational speakers in the world. The world is the one that doesn't know it yet. I already know it today. And the reason why I say it out loud and keep repeating it, so my subconscious will know it. Damn, he keeps saying it. It must be true. And then it happens physically. That's how it works. Because you're not going to repeat out loud things that you don't believe in yourself. If you don't believe, let's say for example, if you keep saying you don't believe you could ever pay off your student loan debt, that's what's going to happen. You won't pay off your student loan debt because you repeated it over and over in your mind. Then the mind starts telling, hey, you only live once and you can't take it with you, and it starts making up all these things that all the debt slaves say and do. They just repeat it over and over, and you guys repeat it amongst yourselves. And then guess what? You die debt slaves believing that. That's none of that is true. When you say things like, "Oh, LJ, you say the only way to buy houses in cash." How many people in the United States of America have money to buy a house in cash? Obviously, you're one of them that do not because you're saying it. You're saying it out loud too because only a debt slave would say such a thing. What do you mean? You don't think there's people out here that buy houses in cash? Is that what you're saying? That's not true. I'm just here to tell you that is 100% not true. You guys have no idea. The biggest investment in the world is where you live. I mean, it's so, when I'm outside the debt matrix, the shit is so obvious, right? All I had to do was sit down and say, hey, which one of my bills is the biggest one every single month? It's my rent and or mortgage. Okay, let me work on eliminating that first. And when I say eliminate that first, I would say like just like this. If I was in my 20s, that'd be my goal and my only goal to own where I live. That'd be my first goal. And when I say own where I live, say like I got a mortgage because you're young enough, time's on your side when you're in your 20s. You definitely don't have all the money for a house, right? You don't, okay? But you can get a mortgage as long as you know when you have that mortgage, that will be your only debt ever, ever. That house will be your only debt, and your only goal will be to pay it off. Once you pay that house off, that's it. When you're not trapped in anywhere. Say like you bought a house and you owned it wherever what state you live and you decide to move. All you gotta do is sell, take the money, go buy your house where you're gonna live. You're not trapped anywhere. You're more free than ever. Because people will always need a place to live. So that piece of property right there. So anytime you want to move, you pick up, sell, go to another place. Each time it's gonna go up. Of course, cost of living's never going down ever. So just remember, houses will always go up. They will never go down. Yeah, they might bounce up and down in an economy, but over long term speaking, it's never going down ever. If I would have eliminated my largest expense, listen, that's not just for a while. If I would have eliminated my largest expense while I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I would never, listen, never ever have a rent or mortgage again for the rest of my entire life. Never again, ever. There is no investment better than that. Listen, while millions of people believe rent and or mortgage is normal, I won't have it. Do you know how fast and listen, and no debt? I tell you this, I would have been working a maximum of 10 years if I would have started in my 20s, okay? 10 years max. After 10 years, I would have never worked again for meaning that I would have had my own business. Because that's the only way. You gotta first you can't own the time in your life when you have a job. You can't. That's a mathematical statement. Once you understand what that means, your mind starts to put together things that how can I do to own the time? What must I do? Well, you must first own a business. That's what mathematics say. Because you got to trade time for money. I mean, you've been trading money for time all your life with a job. Now you're doing the transition of trading money for time. And that transition is a tough one. When you coming from a W-2, yeah, it's pretty tough at first. But the difference is this, for people that understand this, okay, I'm gonna give you the fast track when you're going from being a worker to a business owner. Okay. First, number one, you must own yourself, the business of yourself first. How do you do that? You must pay off all your debts. You must pay them all off. Yes, including the student loan. You must do that first. If you don't believe you can do that, you might as well just click off this video right now and don't worry about the rest. Once you own yourself, then when you get ready to cross over to business, you don't really understand that world. All right. You've been told about it, but you don't really know. This is what you do. You go find an accountant, professional accountant, and a professional tax person, attorney, or whatever, right? Who, listen, this is the key. They must each be personally debt free. They must not have any personal debt, just like you. Okay. You walk in there and you say, hey, LJ from SMD said, come see you because you have no personal debt. If you happen to find one, okay? There's many professional tax accountants and tax attorneys and tax professional people who are in personal debt. You do not want to see them. They do not know. You find the ones who are personally debt free and you say, hey, LJ from SMD said you would make sure this transition from W-2 to business owner, you will make sure all my shit is straight with my taxes. He said you would make sure that is done 100% correctly because that is key. That is key because you got to remember when you're in the debt matrix, you're trained to believe to hate taxes and taxes are the reason why you're down and why you can't live somewhere. They break you. They take so many out your check and blockety blah, blah, blah. And then you do this transition. You cannot bring that mindset over to the business side. You can't do that. Do not do that. Talking about how you feel about taxes, those are feelings that has nothing to do with anything. You go see these people that already know because they know something. Listen, professional accountants, professional tax attorneys, professional tax people who are personally debt free, they know something that their coworkers do not. The people in the same professions as them do not, and they will never know. They don't know. They will make sure your taxes are straight, because once you cross over and do it correctly, guess who pays everything anyway? Debt slaves pay for everything. Taxes, insurance, this and that, your lifestyle, or whatever, right? Long as you understand that. Long as you understand that taxes are key. That's the key component. Once you do them right, once you get your taxes straight, that's 100% apparent that you understand how it works. How? Because your taxes are straight. You're not hiding money, pretend you didn't work here. You didn't put some money here in somebody else's name and this and that. You guys just do all the same shit. You guys do. You guys don't even know you do. Do you know how? Listen. Do you know how good? Imagine this. Imagine if you done something 1,000,000 times a day, every day for the rest of your life. Do you know how good you would be at something if you practiced that much at something? That's how much practice they get because you guys just repeat the same shit. Because you guys do it for money and you hate taxes and you put your feelings into it. You guys do the same shit over and over and over. And you know, what's so crazy. It's so obvious what you guys do. It's so obvious. So obvious. I remember I had this guy talk. I was talking to him on the phone one time. I was talking to one friend, and then there was another guy in the background talking, and we was talking about what SMD does and stuff, right? Then all of a sudden he jumps in the conversation. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm trying to get my stuff straight and this and that." Then he goes, he said, "Yeah, I own a house and I own this and that and da da da, but it's not my name. Red flag. Why isn't the house in your name?" I already know right there. That's a red flag. He owns a house. It's his house, but it's not in his name. That's a red flag. Why isn't it in your name? When I buy a house, I'll put it in my name because I bought it. Why wouldn't I? Because there's something that you're doing that you're not supposed to be doing. That's why. That's a red flag. That's obvious. So this is what it's like to be a genius. Hmm. This is what it's like. I guess it is. When you look at Einstein and people with great minds, you're like, wow. Then when you get here, it's like, oh, it's you know what that is? They're just showing or telling you about the obvious. That's all. It's not really, but it sounds like it's genius because billions of people can't see it. That's why. Let me give you another example. Put it this way: when I go by a bank, okay, when I go see banks, big fancy banks, and then you can see the big fancy safe in there, right? You'll see a big old safe with a big old rolling handle with a computer screen all high. It makes debt slaves believe that there's money in there. There's no money in there. That's a trick. There's nothing in. You know who's in that safe? You want to know who's in those big old safes? You. That's where they probably keep all the fucking storage drives for credit reports in those big ass safes. Because that's you guys in the safe. There's no money in there. That's movies. That's all movies. Because when you understand how it works, you would never trade time for money. Because you know, like put it for instance, you know before you rob a bank that if you get caught, you're going to prison. There is no if, ands, or buts about it. You're going to prison. But you're robbing the bank for what? Money. So subconsciously, what you don't know you're doing, you're risking the time in your life for money. That's wrong. You're trading something that's worth less value for something that's more valuable? No, that's a no. Now, I wish somebody would have said it to me like that when I was in my 20s, when I allowed myself to get motivated by other people doing the wrong thing. But for what? Money. If somebody like me would approach me back then and say, "Hey, LJ, yeah, you know, if you do that, you can go to prison." Right? You do know that because the law is clear. Hey, if you get caught doing this, you go to prison. Right? There's not a misunderstanding of that, correct? No. So you're willing to trade the time of your life for worthless green pieces of paper? That's a problem. That's a bigger problem. Can you get more time? Mm-mm. Then why are you trading it for money? No, you go like this. Can you get more time? No. Can you get more money? Yes. But you're trading the one you can't get more of for something that you can get more of. That's a problem. That's a red flag. Who's in the save? You debt slaves. Yeah, you guys are in the save, doing all types of fraud for useless people, doing all types of fraud. You know what's so genius about this, man? This is so genius about this. When you guys do fraud and scams and stuff like that, it's so easy to see. You know why? Because you're doing it for money. That's why you're doing it. You're scamming people for money. You guys all do the same thing, but just in different ways. You guys think if you get more high tech about it and you get some more, some more scammy, it's still all the same. You guys just do it at different levels. You're only fooling people in the debt matrix. I'm just here to tell you something. You're not fooling people like me. You're not. You guys all talk the same, you do the same things, you say the same shit. Hey, it's better, mortgage is better than renting. At least I can paint my walls and knock out and have parties and raise chickens. And it's like, you have no idea what you're saying. Of course you can do all that as long as you keep making the mortgage payments. The bank doesn't care what you do to the house because it's you are the money. You're the equity. You. So who cares if you paint the walls and raise chickens and knock out this and have parties? Who cares? As long as you keep making the payments on time every month, yeah. But as soon as you stop, guess what? You're not going to be doing no more because you're going to get kicked out of their house. At least one day you'll be you guys all say the same shit too. At least one day I'll be an actual homeowner. And this, oh my God, just repetitive. It's just over. And one day, but you're not today. That's all. You can't stop a debt slave in mid-sentence and just say, hey, but you're not today. That's all I'm saying. You're not a homeowner today. Oh, I'm not going to go all the way to 30 years. I don't care how long you go. I'm just telling you that you're not a homeowner today. That's all I'm saying. Now, if you tell a debt slave that, they won't even hear it. You know what? That's the genius about it. A person could buy a home in cash, living next door to a person with the same house that got it with a mortgage. Guess what? Both of them believe they're homeowners, but only one of them is. The person with the mortgage will think they are like the person with no mortgage next door to them. That's pure genius. Do you understand me? That's genius. Of course, not only are you going to go more than 30 years, you're going to refinance. That's refinancing is what takes them over 30 years, Nick. That's what it does. It just starts the clock. Do you know if you do this, okay? Go up to a debt slave and ask them, do you know what happens when you refinance your house? Do you know the majority of them do not know that the clock starts all over again? They do not know that. They have no idea they restarted the 30-year clock. Bananas. And then take out a second mortgage on the same house. It just screams debt slave, screams it. You got 2 mortgages on one house? And then you take the equity within the house, and then you go get a third mortgage on a rental property, put a renter in it, and then believe you're profiting with 3 mortgages. You think you're profiting $1,000 from a renter in the rental property while having 3 mortgages. That screams debt slave, screams it. All the while you believing you own both properties, your house and the rental property. That is pure genius. That is pure genius. That kind of genius doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't. That's obvious. Clearly, there's an oligarchy. Clearly. And I don't care. It is what it is. I was born into this. This is why, when you see if you found this channel on my shorts, I want you guys to recognize some things, okay? I want you guys to notice how little to no comments are under the shorts. Now, anything that is normally uh, uh, against what the majority believe, people they have no problem jumping in there telling you how they feel about what you said. But this is why, because the majority don't understand what I'm saying. You cannot have an opinion. This is why there's hardly no comments underneath. But a whole bunch of views, thousands of views though, thousands. It is very difficult to have an opinion on something that you don't understand. Let me give you an example, okay, so you can understand. Say like you went to you're from America and you go to France. And somebody says, without making facial expressions, say like you went to France and somebody in French said, without making facial expressions, said something bad about your mom, derogatory, really, really bad about your mom in a negative light, but they said it in French. You can't respond. You don't know how to respond to that person because you don't know what they said. So you can't really have it. You're not going to have an opinion on what this person said to you because you don't really know what they said. Now, if there was a French guy, a person standing there, and then they translated it to you and said, "Hey, oh man, they said your mom's a this and that, and I'm a streetwalker or whatever." Now that it's translated to you, now you would respond or have an opinion about what was said. But until that translation happens, you don't know how to respond. That's why there's so little comments under my shorts. Don't pay off the house in cash. They would rather take out multiple mortgages to control the home. This is what Myron and Fresh, put it this way, Nick. Put it this way. Now, I don't listen to those guys, and I'm only saying this because I know Fresh. And Fresh knows SMD. Okay. 100%. Okay. Now, if he's not using it, that's up to him, but he understands what SMD is about, and he knows this is rare. When I see what they're doing, that's business. That's business. Because if I heard like Fresh read that, right, I would turn to him and say, that's not true, right? You're just saying that for the show. He would say, yeah, I know that's not true. But also, you got to remember, Fresh and Fit, they're taking advantage of the fact that debt slaves don't know the difference between personal debt and business debt. The majority of people that follow them do not know that. So they're not doing pretty much anything that's different than what the majority of people do. Robert Kiyosaki, the big names, Grant Cardone, you guys don't know that they're talking about business debt. Debt slaves don't know the difference. So when I hear them say something like, hey, I'd rather do this and that, okay, well, maybe in the back end, they got to deal with the Bank of America or something. Who knows? Because that's moves like that mean you must use the bank excessively. Who knows what's going on in the background? Who knows? I don't know. But that's not mathematically true of what they're saying, because you can't own anything with a mortgage. Now, listen closely. I'm going to simplify it. If you hear them say that they own something with a mortgage, I want you to understand that that's 100% mathematically not true, because you cannot own anything with a mortgage. So when you hear that, and you hear that a lot, that's called business. It's not illegal to tell people things that are not mathematically true. That's not illegal. All you have to do is open up the calculator, put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance, and hit equal and see a large negative number. You clearly see you own nothing. What do you mean? That's a big negative number. That means you don't own anything. If you don't believe the calculator, that's your problem. So when I see them, I see business, I see sex, what the young people like. I mean, this is all you guys got to do. This is all you got to do. When you go to the Fresh and Fit channel, just do this. Look at the views when they talk about money compared to when they have girls and they're talking about sex. Compare the two. That's their prime demographic. That's where the money comes from. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they see, if they went all money and if they went all money and stopped having women and talking about women and sex, and the channel would disappear. And it's just business. But to me, if you start out like that, now you're trapped in that. You got to deal with that shit every day. I could not do that. Not because that's the money maker. If you stop doing that, the channel's over. All you gotta do is look up a few of their money. They would have big people on, big people, big financial people on there, and get low views. What does that tell you? First of all, that's how it's supposed to be. Is it a profit getter? No, it doesn't make money in the world of people, of debt slaves that believe they own things with no money. That's how you make money. Even when I see them have guests on there, when they have guests on there saying things that are not mathematically true, you know what I think? Business. That's just business. I remember they had the one dude on there talking about, hey, never pay off your student loan debt. Okay, that's obviously business, because that's not mathematically true. What do you mean? He's saying it like you have a choice. Listen, you don't have a choice not to pay off your student loan debt. Believing you do have a choice is a psychological problem. It doesn't matter what the interest rates of loans are, stock market interest. It doesn't matter. You don't have a choice to not pay off your student loan debt. They sure did. They had Robert Kiyosaki on the show. Sure did. A couple times, I believe, right? But then if you go to the views, look at the views compared to sex videos and stuff like that. There's no comparison. They're out here they're almost at 1 million. They're doing what they need to do that. Because I used to always think about it, right? I used to think about the reason why I haven't been on that show? Because I'm not good for the show. I accept that. If they put it this way, I know for a fact, listen, I know for a 100% fact if they invited me on their show, I would be the lowest viewed video that they would have in their whole video catalog. My video would be the lowest. I know that and accept that and understand that that is how it's supposed to be. That's a good sign. That's not a bad sign. So like I was on the show, right? And they get hundreds of thousands of views. And then this video gets 4,000. Nobody would watch it. They think it's stupid. That's dumb. All the while, everything I'm saying is mathematically true. That should tell the views should tell you how many people know what I'm talking about or even understand or generally interested in. That's what the views should tell you. That's a good sign. That's the only way I can kind of like do put it this way. This is how you can kind of get an idea of people that understand statistics, okay? Uh look up the percentage of people that do not have mortgages. The percentage of people that do not have car loans. The percentage of people that do not have credit card debt. Those are our statistics. Not many people type that into Google. You know why? Because they don't know it exists. They don't know to type in that. Hey, how many people with mortgages don't Google how many people don't have mortgages? People that need car loans believe no, people that believe having a car loan, car payments is normal. They don't know to type into Google how many people do not have car loans. Google doesn't get asked that much, those types of questions. Just like if you typed in define psychological capitalism, Google is only going to provide you with one answer, and that answer ain't even right. That should tell you something. Because I know psychological capitalism is true. It's 100% true. Of course it's true. Which makes me genius. That makes me genius, which is weird to even say. It's weird to even say it. It's weird. So this is genius. This is how a person becomes one of the biggest motivational speakers in the world. You wait till Tony Robbins hears me. I'm assuming he's the biggest. Wait till Tony Robbins hears me. He's going to know that I know. He's going to know. Because there are very few that know. Very few. And I'm here to help the people wandering around the debt matrix, knowing that something's wrong. Something's not adding up. I'm doing everything right. I got the house. I pay my bills on time. I got the great credit score. I got the great job. I got the years on the job. How come it doesn't feel right? I'm here to give you the answer. You don't own you. That's the answer. You don't own yourself. That's the answer. I remember when I was in the debt matrix, I always thought in my mind, getting a higher paying, better job over the years was going to somehow reach me to where this feeling I was supposed to be feeling once I make X amount of dollars. The next job will do it. The next job will do it. Until one day I realized that's not the right way because it's not happening yet. I remember before I quit working a regular job. I remember my last job, I got a $50,000 a year raise. 50,000. That has never in my life ever been a major jump like that, ever. When I took that job, I was only there a month. I couldn't take it. I thought getting that big of a raise was going to make me happy. Now, this is after I was debt free. Okay, I'm debt free at this particular time. I know it really doesn't mean anything to you if you have a job and you're in debt. You don't. It's a big difference when you have a job and no debt. Okay, it's a big difference. I was there a month and I couldn't take it and I quit. And as I quit, now listen, I kid you not, when I quit, you know what they said to me? Why? Do you need more money? I was like, God damn. I quit and you offer me more money? Blew me away. I was like, I've been doing it wrong all these years. All these years, I've been doing it wrong. Sure have. Quit, had faith in myself, and now I'm here on the mic with you today, knowing that capitalism is psychological. I would have never in a million years, millions of years, would have ever known capitalism is psychological if I didn't have faith in myself to get here where I'm at today. Never. 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 Step one, I had to own myself. And I always tell people this, because I could never explain it. I could never tell anybody. It just made no sense to me. But I remember when I was a debt slave and I was working I was a engineer, a virtualization engineer. So you got your own cubicle, you got your big 5, 6 screens stacked up on, thinking you're fucking cool, inside your cubicle because you got multiple LCD curved screens at your desk. I remember one time I was reading the white papers on a particular software, VMware, which is VMware, and I remember as I'm reading the upgraded features of happening, right in the middle of my reading, something said to me, "You don't give a fuck about this shit anymore." Right in the middle of me reading. That was the weirdest thing to me. I was sitting at my desk. I still remember where I was sitting. The window, the light, where the time it was, everything. It said, "You're not interested in this shit anymore." Which is, I was, when it came to being an engineer, I was 100% in, achieved what I was going to achieve, and then one day it says you're not. I remember looking up, looking around, like somebody actually heard what was just said to me, but I know nobody did except me. I put my head back down into the reading, and guess what? Nothing retained anymore. Nothing. Nothing was staying in my mind when it came to this. I didn't want to. I didn't want it. Didn't care to remember it. But at the same time, I'm conflicting with myself, talking about, hey, man, but this is my life. This is what I went to school for. I'm having a whole conversation in my head. I can't just let it go. I've been doing this for years. This is all I know. This is blah, 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 all these things. But remember, I have no debt at this time. And that's exactly what it says. You don't have no bills? You can do anything you want right now because you have no debt. Because that's the first thing you think. There's no way. If you got debt, there is quitting a perfectly good job that you are very good at does not come to mind when you're in debt. But when you're not in debt, that's the first thing that comes to mind. You don't need this job. You have no debt. You'll be all right. You got money stacked, saved in the bank for not having no debt. Like when you have no debt, your head will spin this, how fast your bank account stacks in 1 year. Your head will spin. But that's what it said to me. So you're not in debt. You can, and I said to myself, I can actually leave. And it won't bother me. And that's what I did. I quit. People were like, man, you quit a 6-figure job? You know how many people that don't even make six figures and you did and you're quitting? Yep, sure is. I quit. What are you going to do? I don't know. I remember, so crazy too. This is what I did too. I remember going back to work, back to my old job to visit coworkers because I was still friends with them and I'm still friends with a couple of them today, right? But I remember I would go back to visit after being free for like a year. I would go into the building and go to the area where I used to sit for 8 hours because for some reason techs like to have it kind of dark in there, but you just don't know what that means when you do that, right? But I was in there saying hello to all my buddies and ex coworkers, but I couldn't wait to get the fuck out of there. I said to myself, there is no way I can sit here in this cubicle for 8 hours in the darkness like they have it every day. All no, missing the sun every single day. No, I said, all right, you guys, I'll see you later. It was nice seeing you. And then I got outside. I was like, like I could breathe. I don't have to stay here. I can just leave. You know that feeling when you're standing outside your job when it's a sunny day, but you're only on your lunch hour, so you can't just leave like you want to? You wish you could just leave right now and go take a walk at the park for as long as you wish? Mm, You have no idea. The sun on your skin, not you're just not looking at the sun through the window after most of the rays have been taken away after going through the building and your little sliver of window you have, and then it finally actually touches you. You're feeling the leftovers of the sun. You're not feeling the sun all day, every day, 40 plus hours a week in the building, looking at the sun through a window. Hell fucking no. Dead slaves are still mad. I know about the YouTube cameras on credit. You know about the YouTube cameras on oh, you mean they're what they use to make videos? Can you imagine how many death slaves do that? You guys have no idea how many YouTubers finance their equipment to be on YouTube, all on credit. Now, when you go to the channels and you see good, clear video, I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. That's excellent. And you as a viewer, you don't really care. You could see somebody takes pride in their work. I'm not even knocking a person that is good, go finance his cameras and be better than a TV commercial on TV. That's a talent, but they don't know that they're holding back their talent by financing everything in their lives. They don't know that. If you can see, this is what death slaves don't know. So like somebody does and is very good with cameras and everything, and their YouTube channel is the shit, and they got millions of people, but they finance everything. Look what they're doing while they're in debt. Look how good they are. And they don't even own themselves. Look how good they are. Can you imagine how good they would be if they owned themselves on top of doing what they're already doing? They don't know that. If they can do that while they're in debt, not owning themselves, can you imagine what they would do owning themselves and doing that? They would be the best in the game. But first, they obviously, like, you see somebody that they obviously believe in themselves. Look at their channel. They got a whole bunch of people and this and that. I mean, you guys see that, but you guys don't understand that the reason why that is because the majority of people are in debt. Pure genius. A whole entire system, pure genius. And again, I feel privileged to have discovered it for sure. To understand it at the age of 52. I'm 52 now. Now, I've been understanding what it is for almost 10 years, but I didn't really understand the name until the last year or two, that it's called psychological capitalism. That is what it's called. That's what math says it's called. Mr. Big says, LJ, even if you're debt free, it's hard to quit a job. You become homeless. What Mr. Big doesn't know, that he's talking to himself. He just told us his fear of what he thinks that means. That's what you just told us, Mr. Big. You believe that if you quit your job, you'll be homeless. And you know who told you that? TV. TV told you that. If you don't have a job, you're homeless. That's what TV says. And you just repeated it. That's a program. That's not true. How do I know it's not true? Because that's what I did. I quit my job and I wasn't homeless. I'm not saying anything that I haven't done. I'm gonna respond with answers with things that I'm gonna tell you that I did. I quit my job and I was not homeless. So your statement is not true. That's not true. Now you can either do this. You can do what the next step is debt slaves do. Oh, everybody's not in your position. Everybody doesn't have these type of chances. Everybody that's now if a person starts to go into that, that's when you just leave. Because then they're running off all their fears. They're telling you every single fear that they have. Now, if you have the time in your life to deal with every single fear that they have, you'd be wasting the time in your life. That's what you would be doing. That's where I detach. Soon as I hear debt slave starts running the program, hey, everybody don't have money to buy a house. Everybody can't just do this. Everybody just can't do that. See you later, debt slave. Bye. And let me tell you something, Mr. Big. I want to make sure you understand something. You can believe it or not believe it. You can get angry if I sound like I'm better than you. I'm not. But if you keep saying those things out loud, it's going to become true to you. And if you're saying that, and this is advice, if you're saying that and you type it out loud you type it in the open for the public to see, that means you believe it. How do I know this? Because I would never type that. I would never write, hey, if you quit your job, you'll be homeless. I would never write that because I know it's not true. Learn how to stack your money and learn about the ninth wonder of the world, compound interest, for sure. Eighth, excuse me. Yeah. And you know what's so crazy that he brought that up? I want to make sure people understand, like, when you understand how it works. So I took the Einstein quote about the compound interest, because he says, those who understand compound interest earn it. Those who do not pay it. Now, when I read that Einstein quote, he's assuming that you guys know what it is. You guys, the debt slaves, you guys don't know what it is, because you guys don't understand compound interest is positive and negative. In his statement, he's assuming that you guys do, by the way the way he's stating this statement. Earn it, pay it. So I'm gonna fill in so you guys can understand what it is. I'm gonna replace the it. Those who understand compound interest earn positive compound interest. those who do not pay negative compound interest. Does that sound a little better? More understanding? So let me give you an example of the statement clarified. Say like you have a car loan and the interest is some stupid 10%. By the bank giving you the car loan, they earn a positive 10% of compound interest. You pay a negative 10%. You pay 10% negative compound interest because you pay it every month and they earn it every month. Now, is it more clear? It's the eighth wonder of the world for people who understand it, not for people who pay it. It's positive and negative. You get to choose which side you want to be on, the positive side or the negative side. It's totally up to you. But if you're making car payments, guess what? You're on the negative side of it. You can't be both positive and negative. You can't be both. You have to be either or. To make money flow to you, you have to understand that money is positive and negative. You get to choose which one you want to be. Do you want to be on the positive side or you want to be on the negative side? It's totally up to you. But you can't be both positive and negative. Let me give you an example of that, of a debt slave being positive and negative. Believing that you can earn interest in your retirement while having student loan debt. That means you believe you can be positive and negative in the same person. You can't do that. You can't earn interest on your retirement while being in student loan debt. You can't do that. You can't invest and make money in cryptocurrency while having student loan debt. You think you can be positive and negative. You cannot do that. You have to be either or. See? See what I'm saying? I already said that what the debt slaves start making up is, hey, everybody can't do this. Everybody can't do that. The only person can say that is you. You can't, you don't know what everybody's going to do. The only person you know what's going to do is you. So when you make that statement, you can only be talking about you, only you. When you guys say everybody, hey, everybody can't buy a house, everybody can't buy a car in cash, everybody, you guys are talking about yourselves. Everybody like you. That's what you mean. You don't really understand how to finish the sentence. Whenever you say that, especially financially, you guys got to finish the statement. Everybody like me. Everybody can't afford to buy a house in cash like me. You guys got to put like me at the end. Everybody can't afford to buy a brand new Cadillac Escalade in cash like me. Good morning, SMD. Is it safe to say that in general, people should just purchase everything cash, whether it is getting a car, house, and avoid all loans like the plague to avoid debt slavery? Let's reword that. Let's reword it so people can really understand, because this statement implies that you have a choice to purchase a car or a house or etc. The only way to buy anything on earth is cash. There is no other way. When you see a house and you want it, if you don't have the money, you can't buy it. Period. There is no other way to buy the house. Once you understand that, you take the illusion of choice out of your mind, because a mortgage can't buy a house. That's an illusion. That's a mathematical illusion. When you really understand that, and understand there is no other way, you will stop thinking you have a choice, and then your mind will start figuring out, well, there are people with houses with no mortgages. How did they do that? Then your mind starts formulating a plan on how to obtain that, because they did it. If they can do it, that means you can do it. They're not special. They're not. 9 times out of 10 is just that they trust math and you don't. That's what it basically is when it comes to money. People that understand, let me give you guys another example, and you guys can use this test wherever you go. People that understand capitalism is psychological, they know 5 minus 10 is -5. I'm going to say that one more time. People that understand know that 5 minus 10 is -5. Now, if you ask this amongst your family and friends, see how many people say 5. That is the absolute wrong opposite answer. Wrong. What's up, Robert? Do that test amongst how many people. Hey, man, just do it. Hey, man, what's 5 minus 10? See how many people say 5. Those people don't know. And then when they mess up and say 5, I want you to repeat it. No, man. I mean, what's 5 minus 10? See if they repeat the same 5. See if they say it again. And then when you tell them the right answer, no, man, it's -5. Oh, yeah. That's what they're gonna do. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. No, you didn't. You would have said it. You said the wrong answer twice. Now, Jack 3D, when I was in a debt matrix, I thought you could buy a house with a mortgage. I believed in equity and appreciation and leveraging the bank's money, OPM, other people's money. Debt slaves, there's the illusion of choice. Debt slaves believe they have the choice of purchasing a house with no money. That's an illusion. Debt slaves have the illusion that they can buy a car with no money. They can buy a brand new phone every single year with no money. That's an illusion. You can't do any of that. But that's called business. That's just called business. It's nothing personal. I don't care if you guys finance phones and cars and believe your homeowners with more. Just think about it this way. There's trillions of dollars in mortgage loan debt, trillions. That's because millions of people believe their homeowners with mortgages. That's how the housing market is here. That's why I get it. I totally get it. I don't want to change any of that. I like it. You guys have no idea how wonderful life is when you understand that. You guys have no idea. The prices of things don't matter anymore. It inflate. When you hear debt slaves talk about inflation, you know you guys are talking about yourself. When you believe the price of gold and silver bounces up and down, no, it doesn't. You're the currency. It's you. Gold stays the same. Gold is just gold. Silver's just silver. Diamonds just diamonds. You're the currency. It's you. Walking around believing your own things with no money, think you have a choice. Hey, this and that. Don't do this. Hey, it's all the choice. It's called business. If you believe you own a home with a mortgage, that's called business. like I always use this example because Dave Ramsey is known, right? I want you guys to understand something. Like when you get to the part where he says, hey, pay off everything but your mortgage, and then when you get down to your mortgage, start putting away money into retirement, that's not mathematically true. You can't do that. That's called business. Now, when he says that, and you don't know that's not mathematically true, that's your problem. That's not his problem. That's called business. Because when I followed, that's how I got out of debt. Mr. Dave Ramsey, I followed. He says, basically take this calculator and my baby steps and get out of debt. That's what I did. It was not that difficult. I mean, to follow, to do was a different story, but to follow, no, that wasn't very difficult at all. But when I got to the part where it says, hey, start putting away money here and for your kids and this and that while having a mortgage, whoa, wait a minute. You can't, whoa. I said to this is what I said to myself. Okay, I've been using the calculator a whole entire time to get out of debt, but at this point, I stopped using it. That's what I said to myself. I said to myself, why do I stop using the calculator here? Because according to the calculator, if I have a mortgage, I'm still pretty deep in debt, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't have any money to put into retirement. Why is he? Oh, business. That's business. Oh, go see one of your vested pros. Oh, got it. Okay, it's business. Got it. And that's where I got off. Because you jump, then your mentors show you things, right? Because you're not supposed to follow them forever. You're supposed to learn and then move on to build your own. So that's where I got off. That's his business. That's why he's a multimillionaire, because that's business. I get it. I don't care. I don't think he's a bad person. And then, like adding religion in it and stuff like that. Hey, that's the Dave Ramsey way, I guess. Whatever. It's nothing wrong with it. But that's just not for me. So I broke off and created my own. That's how I know capitalism is psychological. Everybody this is what I understand, okay? This is 100% fact. Everybody can't know that capitalism is psychological. Everybody can't know that. What's up, Robert?
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing good. Happy Labor Day weekend.
Hey, same to you. Hey, take the mic for a second. I can take this advantage of a bathroom break. Hold on.
Oh, go ahead. Hey, good morning. How are y'all doing? Glad to be back up here. Good to see everybody doing good as always. Wait for LJ to come on back. Hope everybody's staying safe this Labor Day weekend. And of course, get out of debt matrix. I just had some questions for LJ when he comes back. LJ had to go to the bathroom quite a bit. Hope he all right. Oh yeah, the craziest death story. It just happened to me when LJ come back on and tell him. But I noticed I was at work and
All right, I'm back.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, all right?
Yeah, man. Woo! I drink a lot of water, man. Let's put it that way.
So do I. I lost 15 pounds by doing that.
Wow. Dang.
I went from 220, now I weigh 192.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Try-
Fitting your
I,
clothes different and everything.
yep, I drunk a lot of water
Mm-hmm.
per day because I work in a hot environment. So I've been drinking a lot of water, and I also been eating light salads for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Like take some salad, put a little bit of chicken on it, like
Gotcha.
grilled chicken on it.
Mm-hmm.
That helps a lot.
Yeah,
But I was going
you just get used to eating like that too.
correct.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. But I
Mm-hmm.
was going to tell you, it's another about psychological capitalism. People treat you differently too when they sense that you got your finances in order.
What do you mean? Give me an example.
I was at work, and it was this lady, and I was talking about like her relationship issues and stuff, right? When you're around a bunch of people, they think they think you're
She's
different.
talking about her relationship issues with you at work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
Like how her boyfriend don't do this and do that.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I know.
She must like you. She must like
Yeah.
you. Okay.
So I was walking out heading home for the day, and she told me come with her to her car.
Oh.
So when I sat inside her car, right, and I saw that someone had hit the side of her car, and I was like, "Did you have insurance?" She was like, "No." I'm like, "Well, red flag number one." So she didn't have insurance, but she was using tape to tape her the bumper of her car. You know, they use that duct tape.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So she went
Wow.
inside her car. She was like, her tags was expired,
Oh boy.
and and she needed money.
Mm. Mm.
And
Mm.
I was like, I was looking at her like, you expecting this from me? I was like, I'm not paying for your tags.
Let me
So
ask you something, Robert. Let me ask you something,
yeah.
Robert. What you doing sitting in her car?
Oh no, she was just talking. It's just a thing about it. Like, I just like to hear him talk.
No, let me say something. Okay, if she's talking to you about her relationship problems, you know already. Okay, she's interested in you. You already know.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You got to be, and she's telling you, and this is the reason why I'm saying to you, because you don't know how crazy her man might be.
Right.
And you're sitting in the car. What if he comes and thinks you the man that she's been seeing, and he comes with a gun or something? You know what I'm saying? That's
No,
why
I
you
get what you.
don't put yourself in those situations.
Oh, I wasn't like trying to. I wasn't even like sitting there. Like, I know those situations. I was just looking at the damage of her car.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I wasn't like trying to like be intimate or nothing like that at
No,
all.
I'm not saying you are. No, I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying what you could see. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
That's all. Just be careful of those type of situations
Oh,
because
of course.
yeah, man. But I understand what you're saying. You can clearly see by her car using tape and all this, she is in deep, deep financial trouble.
Right. Because she was like telling me how when her like they try to come and pick up the car and everything. I was like, oh God, this is not good.
She works at your job?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And there's a lot of them like that. But like the consensus at my job is that I look like someone with money. I wear basic clothes, and it'll be like different people would give me these strange looks. And they'd be like, why do you look like you look different from everybody else? And it always comes back to the simple thing of it looks like that I got myself together. It looks like that I got
Money. Does it look like you got money or yourself together? Self together?
no, it looks like I got money.
Where are they getting that from? I don't get it. Where are they getting that from?
I don't know. That's the thing. Only thing they know is I work there, I drive a basic car, and I just go home. But sometimes I like just go home or I go to the jail. It's just that for months on end, it's just that I get this perceived look of I look like that I'm successful, that I'm not supposed to be where they're at, and I'm supposed to be like,
I know why, because we always talk about it. It's the energy. All right. We're emitting a different type of vibrational energy. They don't really understand that, right? Because we own ourselves. So I know why I think they're just making up stuff because they can't give an exact answer to why they are attracted to you the way they are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They don't know why. They're just trying to figure out something. Okay, he's never mad. He's always happy. He's not trying to come to work and press us with clothes and stuff. It's like, what's up with that dude?
Mm-hmm. And then I had another girl who told me like she owes no, I was like the one that told you that she had no intention on paying her student loans back.
Mm.
Found out she owed like 10,000 to the IRS. And when
Mm.
she was telling me this, I was like, you gotta pay that back, right? But she's like, I feel like I shouldn't have to pay that money back
About
because
what? She
they
talking which debt she talking about? The student loan or IRS debt?
both.
Holy moly. Oh my God. Wow. So
She was
that
like,
means
they
she's not gonna pay it.
correct.
She's gonna be making payments to the IRS for the rest of her life over $10,000.
Yep.
That's gaining interest.
Mm-hmm.
And talk about people don't really understand. You guys know the rate of compound interest on IRS debt? Oh,
Oh,
shiznit.
they don't know. They
Ooh,
don't know.
ooh. Talk
I
about compound interest. Holy moly.
The only way I learned it was from my grandmother. When I told the story how my mom was like when she worked at for the Progress Index, and she was using my grandmother's name as to
Mm,
like force checks and stuff. And I
mm.
told her how later that next year, my grandmother filed charges. The IRS came up, some you owe this much money plus 15.9% interest because it
Ooh,
wasn't paid for a
ooh.
whole year.
Right.
Yeah, when
Oh
they
yeah.
come after you, you got to hurry up and handle them.
But when you understand how it works, you don't let yourself do that. You know,
And,
you don't put yourself in those situations. It doesn't. Even when I was in the debt matrix as a regular working person, I knew not to get in that kind of debt.
mm-hmm.
I never once allowed myself for that to happen ever. Right? I just knew not to do that.
Yep, that happened to my coworker at my when I was at a night job. He told me he stole 4.9 million from Bank of America, not Bank of America, from Capital One,
Mm,
and through mail fraud, and they caught him, and
hmm
he had to pay back every cent. He was like, "Yeah, the IRS found me. They found me from Atlanta. They came up to me, put me in handcuffs, put him in handcuffs, drove him to Atlanta, and he had to serve time behind that. I think he had served 2 years. He had to pay that money back. But since the bank had the money insured already, he had to pay a percentage. Because what a lot of people don't know is if you steal electronically from the bank could just write it off. But
right.
you who
Right.
stole
It's
the money,
insured.
you gonna
You
pay
owe it.
back you
Yeah.
gonna pay back every damn cent.
And if you stole that much money and you got to pay it back, guess what? You're never paying it back.
Correct.
Can you imagine Can you imagine stealing $2 million, which debt slaves do, PPP money, right? They
Mm-hmm.
spend it all. Now they get prison time, maybe if they don't, maybe they will, maybe they won't. Got to pay the money back that they stole, plus interest and fees and penalties. They're never, and as a felon, they're never
Yep.
paying that back. Never.
He told me that he was like, I'm glad you're not a felon. He was like, I wish I was you. Like, you don't have felonies. I have
Mm.
4. I'm like,
Oh,
God, yeah.
yeah.
Ugh, that shit
Wow.
made my chest hurt.
Yeah, man. And it's all
Um,
choices too, man. It's all choices.
yes.
Everybody, because sometimes you'll see that. You'll see somebody who's a felon because of a wrong choice, right? And I always
Mm-hmm.
have to, before judging them, I always think back as myself as a young person making the wrong choices that could have
Mm-hmm.
easily put me in that same situation. But I made the choice to stop or not do that anymore, or whatever I did. But it's man.
Yep. And I mean, I'm friends with him to this very day. Like
Mm.
I get along with him and everything. And I just told him, I'm just glad that you learned something because that that charge ain't no joke. Hold on.
And this is sometimes I think too, man, what would help people that made the wrong choice and became a felon, and especially behind a financial, I'm just talking like financial crimes, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
become a felon, right? And then they do some time, get out of prison as a felon, but they did a lot of time and get out in the world and say like they did 10 years and they get out in the world and they actually learn their lesson like, ooh, I'll never do that again for real, not just sort of kind of, but for real. Now they feel as if they're behind everybody else, right? But a person that has done that and really learned their lesson, come out, they don't understand that they're financially ahead of the people that they left for the last 10 years.
Absolutely.
They don't even know. They have no idea that they own themselves. Even though they're a felon, they own themselves more than the people that they wish they could be or fell behind or whatever they think in their minds. I hope to reach those type of people.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Because I understand the purpose of a punishment to go to prison is to learn your lesson. Hey, don't do this again. You see, it's like, if you look at it for what it is, you see, for doing this, we took away the most valuable thing you have on earth, the time in your life. That should be a red flag. Like, whoa, shit, there's nothing more valuable than that. Don't do that again. And if you truly learned it, they could come out and be ahead of millions of people right now, doing it the right way, legal way.
They was telling me this, I was just like, I am so grateful that, you know, I listened to you. And another thing is, them PPP fraud videos you making, oh, they will. Like a lot of people I used to work at Amazon, they getting because, you know, I ain't realized you gotta put you gotta put your place of employment when you apply for a PPP loan.
Oh my God.
And you know, like they've been sending, the Fed been sending like notices to people's jobs. They was like, you know, do you have this person here? And they was like, we found out this person committed PPP fraud, and you know, we coming after that check.
Oh, and they just take the money right there? They just, well, they garnish it. Well, they got to convict them first, though, don't they?
No. Only if they have like proof, like for example, if they not paying the back loan or they did some type of fraud thing, yeah, they can't garnish you directly. Because they'll just notify your job first.
You know what's so crazy about that? This was so crazy about PPP fraud, which is, it's obviously how they make debt slaves, because they make money so easy to get. Okay, it's just bananas, right? But when you take it, how do they not? It's so crazy. How do they not know they're going to get caught? How do they not know that?
Try to use different people's social security numbers. It's like trying to have a bloated income tax return.
But they don't know it doesn't matter, because they understand that they're doing it for the money. The money's whoever's the person behind the scam is obviously doing it for money. So whatever they're doing, the money's going to come back to them regardless. That's the only way they can spend it. They got to get it first to spend it. If they don't have it, they can't spend it. So it's got to get to them first. So it's going to lead back to them. They just don't really, it's just the weirdest, craziest thing that they can't see that.
Right. Because when I was at a night job at Standard Motors, it was a girl that I worked with who basically she was in a gang. I mean, some warehouse jobs, they have a lot of gang people worked up in there, and they was committing all types of PPP fraud, Social Security fraud, and she was just outright telling, it was a group of us men, I was included, she was just telling us how they did it in Atlanta, and come to find out, that's where my coworker that stole the $1 million from Capital One, he did the fraud in Atlanta. So a lot of fraud do happen.
He stole $1 million?
No. Remember the money I was telling you about, he stole from Capital One that he got caught from.
How much he stole again?
Stole $4 million.
$4 million. Wow.
He did it through wire fraud and mail fraud. He told me how he did it and everything. He told me like the details and everything, like how he would go online, set up different accounts using different people's names. Once you max out the account like at $10,000, they'll close their account and just redo it again, but flipping the money to different accounts that he knew with other people. It's like skimming off the top. He told me directly how he did it and then how he got caught. He bought houses in like the expensive parts of the neighborhood, and how people was like, your neighbors were asking, wait a minute, you young, how did you afford this house? And he was bragging about it. And then the Capital One did some background research on it, found out, wait a minute, this is wire fraud. And he did it in Atlanta, Georgia, and the Federal Reserve in Atlanta, Georgia found out, and that's when they came to Virginia, picked them up, carried back to Atlanta, charged them, and convicted them.
You know what's so crazy about that? As you just hear stories like that, the crazy part about it is people think if somebody stole that much money, they're somehow a smart criminal or something like that, right? That much money, right? But what a criminal like that is that they don't really understand that it's not a real difficult investigation to catch somebody like that, because first of all, if you don't know you're going to get caught for stealing $4 million, that's a problem already. Okay, you're stealing $4 million and don't realize one day you're going to get caught. That's a problem. But if you're stealing that much money, of course he's going to change his life to be accustomed to that much money, right? His whole lifestyle. And since he's stealing it, he can't claim it on taxes, which is tax fraud, because you can't claim it because you're stealing it. You can't, but it still goes against you when you get caught for tax fraud, right? And then when it's like when and the whole time, can you imagine the life? Because you can't really get good sleep, because you know in the back of your mind at any one day this whole life can end.
Yep.
Which it did for him. He's walking down the street, next thing you'll get handcuffs put on you. You're like, what? Where'd you guys come from? And that's it. Done.
That's exactly how it happened. He said it verbatim. That's exactly how it happened. Got pulled over. It was like the officer just stayed right there for 1 second, ran his license, ran his background credit. It was like, yeah, come with us.
Yep. Damn.
But yeah, it's psychological, like you've been saying all along. This is some psychological stuff.
Now,
and
just think, now he's a felon, owing $4 million plus in restitution.
Yep.
Now he's going to be a debt slave, telling the story about how he got $4 million. He's going to be telling that story for the rest of his life. Oh man, this is how I did it. You mean that thing you did 20 years ago? Yeah. Okay. That shit ain't even going to exist. How he's doing it. Hey man, I did this wired. It's going to be a whole different way. Imagine, man, I used to steal stuff, man, when I had pagers. They're going to be like, pagers?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm just letting you know. Yes, now I'm understanding that it really is psychological. I'm like more into the acceptance of it now. Like I can see it now. Not only can I see it, now I'm gonna put myself in those situations no more. Like you said earlier with the girl with the damaged car. Yeah, I'm not putting myself in those situations no more. It's just that I'm starting to see them more clearly now.
Once you really start putting time first, and then you say like I was at your job and I'm sitting down, and then all of a sudden this girl starts talking to me about her relationship problems. Like, okay, if she's talking to me about that means she's interested in me. And she's married too, I'm gonna make sure that's cut off right there. Nope, we ain't talking about none of that. I'm not sitting by you anymore, because I don't want to be walking out the building just as her friend and she got a crazy boyfriend and thinking I'm fucking his wife. No, And if she's talking to me about her relationship sexual problems, that means she's having problems at home if she's talking to me about it.
Yeah. It just comes out of the blue. I can just be working and people would just be talking like this.
Well, that's what I'm saying to you. They don't know that you can recognize it. I'm just saying it to you so you don't accidentally put yourself in those situations without thinking.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't even do that stuff. I just be chilling. But like you said, I wasn't like trying to be interested in her, but I'm not going to put myself in that situation, because you're right. You know, somebody could assume the worst.
Well, I'm not saying that you're interested in her, because I know you would never date a debt slave. So I'm not even worried about that. So
no, and too much. It was too much debt that I heard. You know, the taxes. I was like, oof, no, I can't do this, baby.
And that's just the stuff she's telling you. Can you imagine the stuff she's not telling you? Oh man, debt slaves don't talk about all their debt. They don't.
Oh, I know. If I go through her personal credit report with a fine-tooth comb, you know, it's gonna be I can't do this.
And you know, when you think about it too, when debt slaves talk about their credit score, you know, there's 3 scores, right? They always talk about the highest one. You notice that? They always pick the highest one. They don't ever pick the lowest score. They pick the highest score, thinking it means. They never stop and ask themselves, well, why are there three, and why are they different?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
3
debt is
different
debt.
companies.
Debt is debt. Debt is just debt, but they're each different private companies. Exactly. No different than picking your phone carrier. Oh, I'm gonna go with Verizon this time. No different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of which, yep. When I paid off my here's another thing. When you pay off your phone, I'm talking about when you get them like you said with the factory phones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't get no
bloatware.
Yeah, you also don't get no company. I ain't say company logo. You don't get a telemarketer's phone. Not telemarketer.
Name, the carrier name.
Yeah, you don't get the carrier's name when you turn on the phone.
Correct.
When you turn on the phone, it'd be like T-Mobile or Verizon show up. No, when you get a factory phone, it's just only the Apple symbol.
Mm-hmm.
For example, or you get the Air drones, like the little robot thing. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
That is it.
Let's see. So let me. I don't know. I don't want to cut you off, man. I'm
You're good. You're good.
Okay. You can
Good morning.
What's up, Arlene?
You guys can hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I get confused. This StreamYard thing is confusing sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Robert. Happy holiday weekend, LJ.
Thank you.
LJ, you've been on the road this week. A lot of live videos, and I caught them all. But
Yeah, I guess I've been feeling it today. I mean, I'm feeling it this week or this month or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A few things I wanted to say in regards to your live videos. The 0% with the housing.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it's business, but it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I specifically reached out to both my brother and my sister and expressed to them, do not get yourself caught up in that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, trust me, just don't do it. So, because my brother's in Texas, and I know it was particular areas they mentioned, particular states. So,
is he taking your advice?
I will hope. I put it out there. That's all I could do, just get the information.
Yeah, that's true. That's all you can do. You're right.
Because like I said, my brother's in a relationship with a woman with some kids, and whatever. A house would be ideal, but my thing to him is do not do that. So again, you're going to give the information. The super chat today I shared, and I also put in the Discord. Yesterday at work, I logged online and I ran my credit report, and I'm telling you, because you've been saying it for a while. You tell people, you say it. You do say it, and I kind of like I kind of tossed it aside. I really did, no lie. Right. And the last time I had my credit report, the last time I ran my credit report was many years ago, before I got out of debt. So I have, I have that old credit report, and every once in a while, I would glance at it just to see how far I've come financially. So when you kept saying run your credit report, like, yes, I have quote unquote good credit, but I don't care about the good credit, So my mind was like, why would I need to see it?
Right.
As you say it, I would kind of toss it aside. I really would. I would. However, the other day I was at work and I ran it, and it was so surprising. And I can't really explain it, but it made me smile, very nostalgic, looking at how far I've come in my financial world.
Wow. No, I get it.
The catalyst that made me run it was one of your posts, because I'm always responding to your posts. And I acknowledge you say things and it get my mind going. So you had said something the other day, and I wrote, and then Omanika wrote me back. But it was an acknowledgement that I realized that I'm in my own, I can't really put the words to it, but I've kept myself in this poor mindset where I'm not poor. Like I'm doing well financially with my career, and I've shared with you my income, so I'm doing well. However, I've kept myself in this debt slave mindset where it's become a habit of mine, and I'm doing it unconsciously. I'll take out a personal loan, do a few things with it, and pay it back. I've done it a few times.
Right.
That's what the catalyst was. What I said in the post, maybe I should write it all out and try to figure out where the hell I spent all this money. Like, where did I spend all this money?
You mean in the past or now?
In the past, like all those different personal loans. It made me wonder, how many have I taken out? That's what the thought was.
Are you thinking about adding up the money that you spent? Is that what you're saying?
No, not adding up the money I spent, but just trying to remember why I took this money out and what I did with it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, kind of reflecting that way.
Yes.
Because I strongly don't suggest you add up the money.
No.
Yeah,
Just trying to remember, like this particular project. I did this, like, I'm in this home, the bank's house.
Right.
I'm in the bank's house for the past 9 years. And yes, I would borrow money from the bank and do different projects. I would take the money out and do different projects. So what made me pull the credit report was I was curious to see how many freaking personal loans have it taken out. Because it's the same bank. It's like 2 different banks that do it.
Wow.
So that's what the catalyst was, to pull up the credit report. And upon pulling the credit report, it was just interesting to go through it and to see the student loan was there, Navient. And
because you're looking at it different. You're looking at it with different eyes. That's why.
Yes. So even in the past, when you kept talking about the pause with the student loans and the people credit report, in the past, before I got out of debt, I don't even think I paid attention to the fact that my student loans was on my credit report. Because in my mind, years ago, I kept saying I'll never be able to pay it off. So I didn't pay any mind that it was on my report.
Oh, because you thought in the back of your mind that you was never going to pay it off anyway.
Yeah. So I paid it no mind. But when you kept saying about people credits and the student loans, it, again, seeing my credit report yesterday and seeing the pay, like everything's paid off except for the mortgage, except for the house, the bank's house. But it was just really cool and made me smile to just see how far I've come financially.
Yeah, that's to recognize the student loan thing. That's a very important eye opener, because that's part of the program to make you be okay with having student loan debt. It's normal. It's okay. Because they always say the same thing. It's a low interest rate. Don't worry about it. It's low. That's on purpose.
Yes. Yes.
That's all. And then once you repeat it in your mind, people don't know they repeat it in their mind. Once you keep repeating, I'm never going to pay it off. I'm never going to pay it off. And then it becomes true. That's how it works.
Correct. And regards with the error, I found the error, but I know the source where it came from. So in the midst of my mother passing away and having all her access to her stuff, I found it's so fucked up. I found my my Social Security card in her possession, and the address of the envelope where it was an address I did not know. So my thought process was, why the F does she, like, what the hell, like, what is this,
Yeah.
And so
stuff that don't make sense. Stuff that don't make sense. Yeah,
doesn't make sense. So sure enough, credit report, that address is on my credit report. So at some point, she got a copy of my Social Security, because she obviously needed it for whatever the hell she did with it. But looking at my report, there's nothing derogatory on my report. It's just
how long ago was that?
I don't know. I don't know. How do you find out? Because
it should say it on your credit report.
It didn't show it. It didn't show. Like, it just showed like it showed like name history, and then it showed address history. So that address is up there as a history. And then
you think she was applying, or she actually got something, or just applying for something?
I think she may have had it to apply for something. I don't know. I really don't know.
But if you don't see no debt, it sounds like you see history of her applying for something that she probably didn't get.
Maybe, but that's the thing about it. I mean, she know my information,
right? That's messed up. That is really to do that to somebody you say you love. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
But that's what debt slaves do, right?
Yes, that's what they do. And I want people to. I'm glad you said that story, because I want people to understand the power of the program. That's how powerful that is. It doesn't matter if the person doing it to you actually loves you. That's how powerful it is.
Yeah, but think about how many families you have adults using their kids' information for utility bills and stuff like that. So I don't know what happened. I don't know why. But I was already, I visually saw it.
Do you really need to know why? You don't even really need to know. You know why already. That's correct.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, just seeing, again, had I not ran a credit report, I wouldn't have seen that.
Correct. So that's why mine is frozen. I have mine frozen.
Yeah, mine is too. Mine is too. So maybe whatever she may have been trying to do, she couldn't do it because mine was frozen.
Correct. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yes.
That's why when you're describing it, it sounds like she tried something but didn't get it, because if she got it, you would see the debt on your credit report.
Correct. So yes, my credit report is frozen. It's been frozen for quite some time. But what was interesting is, again, with the address history and the name history, I'm out of college since 1999, and there's still 2 addresses from my college on my credit report. And then also with my name history, you have one, my first name, my last name. Then you have my first name, my middle initial, my last name. And then another with my full first name, full middle name, full, like, it was just interesting to see my name spelled out all these different ways in regards with credit. But what was also interesting, there was one spelling of my name completely wrong.
Ooh.
So I have to so I'm going to do the dispute with the address and do the dispute with my name and that. But everything else was fine. Like, everything else, like, all accounts are closed. That, like, everything is paid off and closed. So
right.
Except for the mortgage.
Yeah, I would definitely clear up everything in there just to make sure it's straight. I would definitely do that for sure.
Yes.
And because you want to be able to look at it, because I don't look at mine much at all, really, but every now and then, maybe once a year, I'll go in there just to make sure nothing got in there or somebody did something, or just even though it's being frozen, because a debt slave would never freeze their credit ever.
Yes.
Right. So that's freezing your credit is very rare. So when they see mine is frozen, they pretty much know that I know because it's frozen.
Yes. But it's funny because even with me freezing my credit, when I've gone to the bank, like the last time, to get the loan that I did, whatever I did with it, I had to call the credit union, to unfreeze it so they could approve the loan and then freeze it back. So if anything, that was an indicator that I need to stop taking out these personal loans.
Correct.
But
I mean, today, you're like, hey, if I have to unfreeze, that's a bigger problem. I must have to do something.
Yeah. And then lastly, I'm trying to not be angry. Like I wrote it last in the chat. The Dave Ramsey, yes, I too followed his teaching, and I did what he said. I did what he suggested, and yes, I put a lot of money in my jobs deferred compensation.
Right.
And it's a lot of money, and I can't touch it, and that pisses me off.
Well, but whose fault is that? Is it Dave Ramsey or yours?
No, it's mine. But it's just like, as I look at that 6-digit number,
who are you pissed off at then? Tell me who you pissed off at.
I'm mad at you for not knowing you, Delta.
Not you, just me. Okay.
Yeah, because had I known you, you would have prevented me from doing it.
You know what? That makes sense. Okay, you're right. It is my fault. You're right. I should have known.
No, I mean, you said in one of your comments that you are where Dave Ramsey ends. That was deep.
Yes, I believe that for sure.
Yes, because like you said, it's business. Where he say do this and then do that. You're right.
It's business. I knew when I got to that point in Dave Ramsey's plan, I just knew something was wrong. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then I just took off from there. I was like, oh, okay, that's business. All right. See you later, Dave.
Yeah. But I, at the age of 44, I can't touch that money at all. I've called. I've asked.
Put it this way. Okay. Put it this way. First of all, that's not going to be true. Once you own your own business, okay, and you see everything for how it works. Right now, you're still paying off your house, so there's still a lot of things you don't see yet, right? But when you pay your house off, you're gonna really see. Okay, until then, once you're gonna naturally go create your own business, and once you create your own business, you're gonna be like, whoa, I don't need my money to sit there all that time. So with the penalties and fees that's gonna happen, which will happen, right? It's really, look at it a different way. You're gonna look at it as the government taking back all the interest you earn for pulling your money out early.
Correct.
They're not really going to be touching the actual money that you put in.
Correct.
They're just basically saying, oh, okay, you've been talking to somebody. Okay, we can tell because you're pulling it early. You have no debt. They're going to obviously see why you're doing it, right? They're just basically saying, okay, we're going to take back the interest that we promised you because you're pulling it out early. So they're just going to take it. And you're like, okay, cool, whatever, take it. I don't care. Yeah. But I'm using my money today.
But that's the thing, the idea that within the next 3 years, I'm going to retire. Like you said, I can't get to it until I'm no longer with the job. So that's not going to happen unless I quit, which I'm not going to do.
Correct. That's why I said it's not going to happen until you create your own business. Once you create your own business, then you'll be like, oh, no, I'm going to use that money now.
Got it.
Because you're going to say, like, you discover something that's you have proved that it's profitable if you make it, right? But you need $50,000 to start it.
Yeah.
If you know it's going to work, you're going to pull the $50,000 early out of your retirement to get it going. You're going to do that. And then you're going to pay whatever fees that are accrued to it from your business profits. You're going to be like, okay, I'm going to have the debt slaves pay for my fees and taxes and penalties or whatever they make up. It don't matter. Who cares? It's just look at it also as buying your way. This is how I look at it personally. I look at that kind of stuff as buying my way into the correct way of the system, because it's not free. You got to buy your way in.
Yes.
So just look at it that way. So when you do that, don't look at the taxes and the penalties or whatever they're going to put on you. Just look at it as a fee for understanding and coming into the right way of the system.
I hear you. Mm-hmm. Well, you in the midst of being an SMD member, you definitely, my mind is constantly going, trying to think of what's next for me. So I'm grateful. I'm able to hear what you're saying. So.
And look at it that way. You even said it. You said my mind is constantly doing. That's how it works, and it's never going to stop until it finds what. Because you are in your conscious mind, you obviously want something more.
Yes.
And so what's happening is your mind is looking for it. That's why you said my mind's always going, because that's what you're telling it to do, but you don't really know that you're telling it to do it. And then one day it's going to find something that you're going to like or do or whatever, right? And just understand that you have the money to finance it.
Yes.
You don't have to borrow it from nobody. You will have the money.
What's crazy is this week was my first week back to work. I was on vacation last week, and this week was just a rough week. And I said, just fucking like,
you said what?
Yeah.
You said what?
It was just a long week for me, a very long week with a lot of cases. I was like, come on. Yeah. So like how you said your job and you read the book and you wasn't retaining it anymore because you didn't care anymore.
That's how it happens. That's how it happens. Then you go to work and you're getting irritated by debt slaves, the things they say. And I can only imagine in your field, you are just like amongst them deep.
Yes.
Right? I couldn't take it. Personally, I could not take it.
Yeah.
Because that's their world. They don't like people that they don't understand that that's their world that they create. They don't have to be there, but they believe that is the world, and it's not.
Well, again, the programming. So
yes, and I understand that it has to be that in order for us to be free. Like when you pay your house off, you're gonna be like free, like free, right? In order for us to be that way, the majority must be in debt. They have to be in debt.
But at this point, the space I'm in right now, I'm able to pay off the house because of the job.
Correct. Because your job is a tool. That's what you're using. It's a hammer. Right now, your job's a hammer. When you pay your house off, guess what? You're going to be like, what am I doing with this hammer?
Well, the way the timing is happening for me is all going to kind of happen in the same time frame.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Paid off and then retirement, like all within. Like the timing's happened that way.
Now, if it's perfect, look, I'll put it this way, Arlene. If it's perfect like that, that's how it's supposed to be.
There you go. You go.
Because if it's perfect, because not usually all the time, every time I've discovered along my journey, the timing has always been perfect. Always.
Yes. Amen. Yes. Yeah.
So you're seeing yours.
I mean, as I'm 44, I could retire at 47. That's 3 more years, less than 3 years, and my home is almost paid off. So
correct, and that's still young. Trust me.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
And then your mind's going to start going crazy. Okay, what can we do to keep it this way? Because you still haven't experienced what it's like to not have a job. You still haven't experienced that yet.
Not at all.
When you do, there's really going to be no turning back. Then you're going to be like, wait a minute, I could just wake up and do whatever I want to do. Sure can.
Correct.
It's beautiful too. I ain't gonna lie, it is absolutely beautiful.
And then lastly, my focus has been getting back on my health and fitness journey because I was doing well, then COVID and whatever, and I kind of fell off. But at the end of the day, what happens with me and my body, my health is up to me. So I'm staying encouraged because I want to stay healthy to enjoy.
Well, this is what you do. This is what you do to help your mind tell your subconscious that's what you're gonna do.
Yes.
You need this body to walk around on earth to enjoy your freedom.
Yes.
Okay. And now that you know you're about to be free, you're not gonna disrupt your freedom by not treating your body right. You're just not gonna do that. Because without your
Yes.
body, you can't enjoy the freedom that you work so hard to get.
Yes.
So you're gonna naturally start doing healthy choices because you're like, wait a minute, my time here on earth is limited.
Yes.
And then you're gonna change it. I promise you, it's gonna change. Because you even thinking about it should tell you that you're already you're on your way to it. Because millions of people are not even thinking about their health, not even just working.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, last weekend I was at a funeral for a coworker, my classmate. We came out together and we constantly talked about our plans for retirement. And unfortunately, this young man at the age of 47 passed away.
Oh, 47.
So,
47.
yeah, yeah. And we constantly talked about when we're going to get out of here and retire. And unfortunately, he didn't make, so, and it was things that he didn't do to take care of himself. So,
wow, that's young too, man. 47.
yeah. And he was an entrepreneur. He had a lot of side businesses. He was a very successful young man, but he just did not take care of his health. And it makes you can't do anything but be angry because it wasn't supposed to be that way,
You know, one thing I didn't realize until I got out of that. The whole time, you know how when you work out, right? And your muscles ache,
yes,
and you need to rest them, right? Well, your brain is a very important part of, and if you're working, the only way the brain can recover like a muscle, you must be asleep. You have to be unconscious for it to do whatever it needs to do to repair itself, because to recover, it needs you to not be doing shit, right?
Yes.
Imagine how many people work 60, 70 hours a week, year after year, not getting any sleep. Can you imagine what that does to your brain? It's got to be very,
you had
very
a video
bad.
about that. You had a video about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's got to be very bad. Got to be very bad.
Yes. You're right. You're right. But thank you for letting me come up. We'll talk again soon.
Of course. Anytime.
All right. Good day. Take care, everybody.
See, people don't even know that. It's like you don't really think about your brain because you can't see it. You just gotta, when you own yourself, you think about things totally different. It's like, wait a minute. The brain needs the body, not vice versa. Like body parts. Like if you get your arm cut off, you can still live. But if you get shot in your brain, everything, you can live without body parts. You live, leg, arm, foot, toe, you could still live. But if you get shot in the head and your brain, you're dead. The brain doesn't need body parts. The body parts need the brain. You need the brain to see, look, run, jump, talk, everything. And you follow these debt slaves talking about sleep is for suckers. I'll sleep when I die and all this stuff. Who are you? What about your brain? Your brain says if you don't get sleep, yes, you're gonna die for real. Imagine, see, people don't really understand, and you don't think about this until you own yourself. But imagine how powerful the brain is if it can run. Listen, if the brain can continue to run for years with no sleep, years. You're working at the job, you need your brain to do your job. You need your brain to get up, get dressed, get in your car, drive there, clock in, do this and that, function the machinery, or whatever you do. You need your brain to do all of that. And you're not giving the brain what it needs, the right food, the proper sleep. What do you think is going to happen? Parts start to break down, no different than a car. And you think, oh man, I'm just getting old. My memory's losing. I'm starting to, what do you think that's from? Well, you just think because you get old that it happens? No, that's not true. That is not true. Truly Tribal says, I debated a close friend for days, stumped him plenty of times, but still believe he's paying rent. Oh, still believes he's paying himself. SMD, I need to book a consultation, please, before he take out a mortgage. Okay, just SavingsMinusDebt.com, or you can email me at SavingsMinusDebt@gmail.com. But to schedule a consultations at SavingsMinusDebt.com. Sandra, that's why I said, oh, Monica, you can drop dead. Oh yeah, drop dead anytime. Sure can. You don't, and when you die, you're not gonna know you're dead. You know, when you're in debt, you actually forget. I noticed for a fact, because I did. You forget that your time here on earth is limited. You actually forget. That's what's so crazy. You'll see people dying around you every day. I'm just talking now. I'm talking about natural causes. Okay, nobody, not another human being killing another human. I'm talking about just natural causes. It's pretty apparent that you're not here forever. Now that I own myself, that's apparent in my life. That's apparent every single day. That's apparent every day. I don't know. I got a lot of videos up there, man. I got over 1,000, I believe 1,000 videos. So you're gonna have to type in that type of words and maybe you'll catch it. Yes, we're all guilty of abusing ourselves over. Yeah, I remember that. Even the late great Kobe Bryant realized he needed more sleep to perform better on the basketball court. It is very true. Hello, John Mako, right? Interesting angle on debt, LJ. It's like, welcome, by the way, John. But new people, I love to just clarify things, right? When I talk about debt, it's not an angle. When I talk about debt, they are all mathematical facts. And all mathematical facts means it's true. And I'm not really coming on you, John. I just want to make sure clear for everybody, because I understand those type of, because I've heard people say that all the time. Hey, that's your view on it. That's your angle. This is your theory. It's like, why are you guys calling math any of those things? If I said, put it this way, John, if I said 1 + 1 = 2, would you turn to me and say, well, LJ, that's your angle on it? You would never say that. You would just like, oh, okay, I agree, it's 2. 5 + 5 = 10. LJ, that's just your angle on that. That's not, that's just your angle. You would never say that. That's why I always address it immediately when I hear people say things like that. Hey, this is your opinion, your view, your theory. I'm like, why are you guys saying that about math? Don't forget about the heart. People need to check their blood pressure. People are dying way too young. That's true. Very true. All of the above. When I was losing weight, I understood, and I got natural high blood pressure, right? So I have to take a pill every day. Even though I keep myself in good health, I still have to take this pill, because I thought since I was healthy, I didn't have to do it. I was wrong. I was wrong. No, I don't think you are, John. That's why I said it in the beginning. I want to make sure I wasn't thinking I was directly talking to you. I was just in general, just in general, because people say that all the time, right? So I'm glad you exist. Thank you for what you do. I appreciate it. And that's my purpose. I want to make sure it's clear what, when you come here, you're kind of shocked and people think my purpose is I know capitalism is psychological, and I know the economy cannot work without people. If we didn't exist, the economy wouldn't exist, because we don't exist. Okay. So and I understand that the majority must not know that capitalism is psychological, and there must be a few of us that do, because it works hand in hand. I'm here to help the people that be part of the few. Be part of the few that do. It counts on when, put it this way, John, when that word leverage is used, you must first find out who's telling you that word. If you come across a person that says they're leveraging the bank's money by refinancing their house, taking out a second mortgage and putting it down on a property to so they can bring in some income, they are the leverage. Because you can't buy anything with no money and profit. You cannot have the money. You cannot own something if you don't have the money to buy it. And then you finance it because you didn't have the money to buy it, and then put a renter in it and think you're profiting from a property that you didn't have the money to buy. And if you hear somebody that says that and they use the word leverage, that's a debt slave telling you the word leverage. Leverage, equity, appreciation, those are words. And it always counts on who is saying it. Like the word asset. Let's go with the word asset. If you hear a person with a personal mortgage call their house an asset, they are the asset. Now, if you hear a person with a house and no mortgage and they call it an asset, yes, it's an asset for them. When a house has a mortgage, the asset is them. It's not really the house, it's them, because if they wasn't in it, the house wouldn't, the bank wouldn't be profiting anything because there's no money coming out of it. Soon as they put them in it, they become the leverage, the asset, the appreciation, the equity. They're all that. People are the only asset. You know why? Because you guys are the currency. It's you. You don't chase wealth. You draw it to you. You don't chase it. It's a currency. The physical currency that you see is irrelevant. That's a thing. It's positive and negative. Debt slaves, you guys are the negative, and people that know are the positive. You understand? That's how it works. I have to disagree with you on a particular point, LJ, and I will explain why. Please do. I'm all open ears. But I have to warn you, John. I have to warn you. What I'm saying is mathematically true. Okay? Now, how are you going to get around math? I'm very curious to hear. I'm all ears. I am all ears. And I want other people listening to participate that don't agree with me like John. We can have a cordial conversation. I'm not going to embarrass you or try to make you feel bad or be angry at you. I'm not. I'm all ears. I'm just like, how is this person going to get around math? That intrigues me. I ain't gonna lie. That intrigues me. How are you going to get around math when there's no way? Because I like to see it. I like to hear it. I'm just curious. Because I'm looking at him like he disagrees with me. On what part? I don't get it. I want to know. What part do you disagree? But if you're like John, if you're like, and you feel the same way, and you hear me talk about equity and appreciation and all that other stuff, and you don't agree, and you want to tell me, I'm all ears. I want to hear. I want to know. I'm very curious. I don't know. Sometimes I think, do I sound intimidating? Or do I just sound sure? I don't know. I wonder. I thought John was going to come up. I thought for sure. Anybody else? Dibs? We're 2.5 hours in. I've been saying the same thing for like almost 10 years. 10 years. I don't know, Andre. Let me check my calculator. Let me see. Mortgage payment minus mortgage balance equals large negative number. Okay, let me double check. Mortgage payment minus mortgage balance equals large negative number. Same thing. Same thing. Oh, he's going to text it out. Got it. I leveraged one property into 4 at this time. I still only have one. I leveraged one property into 4 at this time. I still have one mortgage on one of those properties. That's what I mean by leverage. Okay. Fair enough. You're talking about business debt. Okay. I guess we should have clarified that. You're talking about business debt. I'm talking about personal debt. Okay. There's a big difference between business debt and personal debt. But let me clarify this. If you are in personal debt, talking about the properties that you leveraged on the business side, you are being leveraged. What leverage means is this: you are borrowing the bank's money to buy properties because you didn't have the money to buy them yourself. That's just, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just business. I wouldn't care. Put it this way, John. If I was the bank and you use my money to buy properties, to buy more properties using my money, I wouldn't care that you did that. If it's called leverage to you, okay, it's just called leverage. But as long as you're paying me and making your payments on time, I wouldn't care what you called it. I wouldn't care that you told your friends that you own all the properties, even though the Bank of LJ bought them and you told all your friends that you own them. As long as you was making the payments on time, I wouldn't care what you told your friends. It's like this is the exact example. Do you know how many people rent houses and telling their friends that they own them? Do you know how many people do that? There's a lot of people that do that. But I guarantee you this: the actual owner of the house, if the person in the house, that the renter, is paying their mortgage payments on time to the owner doesn't care what they call themselves. That's why millions of people, trillions of dollars of student loan debt, believe they're homeowners. Now, and I understand what you're saying, John. You use the bank's money to own the properties. That's called business. And I want you to understand there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that you didn't own any of them until you paid the bank back. That's all I'm saying. You were the manager of the properties until they get back all their money. That's all. And I'm not saying, and if you did do this to achieve this, do you have personal debt, John? Are you in personal debt? That's what I need to know. Are you in personal debt? And why are you texting? Why don't you just come up on the mic? I don't get it. They in a trust, otherwise they are attachable property. See what he's saying right there? Only people and I'm telling you this, I'm find a financial person, a tax person, of somebody financial professional who is personally debt free. They will know all that stuff. You don't even need to know all that stuff that Andre is talking about. You just find one that's personal debt free. You tell them your money. You tell them where it's at, what you're doing. They'll know exactly what to do for you to save money on taxes. That's called phantom income. Phantom income is saving money on taxes. Saving money on taxes is called phantom income because People in debt cannot save money on taxes. I believe it. And guess what, Andre? All 3 attorneys are going to be personally debt-free. All 3 of them. Especially if they have something to do with taxes. That's why I keep telling you guys, I understand taxes is the backbone, are the backbone of the whole thing. I understand that. Clear. That's crystal clear. That's number one. That's number one. Let's make sure it's straight. But it's obviously because all my numbers will match their numbers. Because I don't do anything wrong. Of course I do. Yes. Mm-hmm. But true net worth, not imaginary. Do you know how, put it this way, John, do you know how many people add bank-owned properties to their net worth? Millions do that. Millions of people. They add up their whole entire net worth with bank-owned properties in it. That's bananas. Say like, so people understand. Say like you had a property with a mortgage on it and the house was worth $1 million. You know, debt slaves will add $1 million to their net worth. Hey, yeah, I own that house. They have a mortgage on it, and then the house is worth $1 million. They will add that $1 million to their net worth. Is that legal to do on paperwork? Yeah, but is it mathematically true? No. If it's not mathematically true, it cannot be financially true. It cannot. That's what the laws of mathematics say. That can't be true. That's not true. You cannot add bank-owned properties to your net worth according to the laws of mathematics. You cannot do that. But yet millions of people do. Why? Because that's how it's supposed to be. What's up, Alonzo? Do I believe in the word equity? I do. I believe in the word equity. Yes, I do. What's up, Dennis?
LJ, what's
Hello,
up, man?
sir. Welcome.
You hear me all right?
I can. What's going on, sir?
LJ, I have so much stuff to say. I'm so sad that I caught the stream so late. Oh my God.
What's going on?
Do it one tomorrow, man, because I don't know, man. Like I'm like getting to the point now where I'm like I feel like the guy from Limitless. You know that guy?
Oh yeah, I love that movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you probably talked about that a lot, but I swear I feel like I'm starting to get to the point now where I'm like walking into my office now and I'm just like, dude, you guys are just simpletons. Like, and then, and but that's the thing, like, that's the dangerous part, because
yes,
it's like really the problem I have now. I'm gonna explain everything. I don't know.
Well, well, real quick, that's the transition. Okay, that's fine. You can talk. No, it's open. That's the transition. I'm just telling you, you're going through the motions right now. Okay.
Yeah, and it feels like a dark and lonely path, but it's just really what it is. There's no point in getting mad about it. You just got to give the people what they want. I mean, and I even told. Yeah, and that is the point now that I'm coming over the ridge right there.
Mm-hmm. That's a tough part, because I went through it, you know, but once you accept that people are the debt slaves of the currency, that'll become easier. You'll be like, okay, they're supposed to do that. Okay, they're supposed to say things like that. Okay, I get it. But you're going through the motions like, oh, these guys are just irritating me.
It's let me like flesh out what I'm saying. So like, it's almost like people that I know should be non-slaves, like they still even think like slaves. Like I can see that they just don't have the RAM in their brain power to think, if that makes sense.
Give me an example of what kind of people you're talking about. People that look like they got money, or professional careers, or what are you talking about?
I guess personally, it's just the people who are above me, superior in my job.
Gotcha.
Like,
gotcha.
They're all like older guys and demonstrate, like, you were to perceive them, if you were to sit me next to them and see them talk, you would think that they know exactly what they're talking about.
Correct.
And, like, I'm the guy that has no idea, and I'm just like the 24-year-old in the room, like, just observing.
Right.
But like, I mean, that certainly was the case at you know, when I first started. But now it's kind of like, it's almost like I'm looking at monkeys in suits, just like throwing shit.
Well, you're realizing that math has nothing to do with a person's age.
Exactly.
That's what you're seeing. Okay. You're like, wait a minute. It doesn't matter if this person's XYZ executive at company XYZ. It doesn't matter. They're still debt slaves. And the title, but you got to remember the title in front of their name is owned by the job. So it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you said that, because I feel like that's something I have to hear said like that.
You have to, you got to understand, whatever the title is in front of that person that you believe is superior over you, that title is owned by the job. That's not theirs.
Right. Right.
And I mean, just to like, I don't know how much obvious, just like what I was talking to Arlene earlier, you're just going to, now your mind is going to say, okay, what can I do to get out of this shit? Okay, I got to create my own business. And it's just going to go on and on and on from there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Cash, when she was saying that, I just come to the end of the stream, but I'm struggling between that and like another choice, which is just like sinking my teeth so deep and just doing the job so well that it's just obvious that I'm running laps.
I would,
because I don't need money, but I mean,
I would do that. I would do that. See how far, see what it, honestly, it's a wonderful experience because that's what I did at my job. I just knew I was different. So I just sunk my teeth into, like, this is what fired me in doing that in the job. I remember one time, because I worked with VMware software. It's a computer engineering software, right? And I was trying to solve a problem. Long story short, I went to this big VMware conference in California to talk to all the so-called.
I heard this story. I know this story. Yeah.
And then and long story short, I read it in the manual how to solve the answer, and all these so-called experts didn't know. They told me, no, you can't do that. No, it's not designed that way. And then I found it in the VMware manual, and I was like, a light went off in my head. I was like, let me dig in deep and become the best. And that's what you should do. And then your company will recognize it.
LJ, I have so many stories like that are even more egregious than just looking it up in the manual. It's like, it's like to the level of like, this is a company that does this, and this is the main software that is used, and simply I'm the only one that knows how to use it to any degree of usefulness.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
And I'm like a lower level employee, and there's people who get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to just wing it almost.
And this company's probably making millions, right? Imagine
I made them $2 million last month.
Wow. Now imagine if you opened a company, but you ran it the right way. Can you imagine how much money you would make then?
I'd clean house.
Efficient. Your company would be efficient because time is the most valuable thing on earth. So you would run it the most efficiently all the time.
But the thing is, like, if I could make like 20 copies of myself, that would work for sure.
You could create a business, and you say, this is the requirement. You must be debt free. Okay, we have start a program at your job or something. Whatever. And you got to work with me for 5 years after that. Who knows, right? Because once you own yourself, you start breaking off and I gotta own a business to be totally free. So you make a contract, your business will be booming.
I was thinking that too. Like, if I were to start a business, because I already thought of this in my head. It's not like, I've already mapped it. I have more brain RAM than most people to think about this stuff.
Imagine if you owned a business with all people that understand capitalism is psychological. Oh my God, you would kill the game, whatever it is.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, how would I sleuth out those people? Like, do I just ask for their credit report? Right away.
Well, yeah. Well, you see employers do that now naturally. They ask to see people's credit reports now. You know that, right?
I never seen that, but
oh yeah, business higher up positions, jobs, they require your credit report. They know why. Employees, they don't know why a job is actually asking to see their credit report. They think it has something to do with their credit score. They're looking to see how much debt they're in.
I can't wait to be asked that question. I'm gonna be grinning. I'm gonna be like almost laughing. And they're gonna be like, why are you? And that's another thing that I struggle with too. Like, not professionalism, but just like almost like just staying in awe of like people's audacity almost, or just like entitlement, if that makes sense. Or, and I just, sometimes I just sit there and I like, not out of disrespect, but I just like almost giggle out of like, I can't believe you're like actually serious right now. And they of course interpret it as like disrespect, but I'm not. I'm like trying to help you. Like, like if I didn't care about you, I would just let you do what you're doing. But like, I guess that's what you want me to do.
And guess what? Now you're the asshole, and you're not even trying to be an asshole now, but you are. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
totally get it.
And you know what I realized yesterday too? This is why I had to, like, when I saw this stream, I was like, oh, I gotta come on the mic, because literally, like, the people you could say are horizontal to me, I guess, in the corporate ladder or whatever, they have the same position essentially. Like, someone made a comment, like I was telling them something about like how, you know, I do something, and this is relates to what I was saying, like I put my mask down too much, like, and I don't even realize that I'm doing it.
Oh, okay, I know what you mean. We'll go ahead.
But it's like I'm not even talking about money. I'm just talking about like life and like doing shit better, because that's just what it is, like, to do shit better. Like, I'm trying to help you.
Right.
And then
do you say
like,
that? Do you say that? Hey, I'm trying to help you? Because that's the wrong words to say.
No, I didn't say that. I was just, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I was basically trying to explain like how you could automate like all these bullshit emails that we have to send. And they were saying like, oh, like, you really think you're hot shit or something. And I was just like, what? like, dude, you think, bro, are you not embarrassed of yourself? I mean, like, that you're saying that out loud? Like,
you know what you got against you, don't you? You got your ages are going against you too, because you're a 24-year-old that don't know shit.
Oh my God. And that's the craziest part. Like, the people who, like, I know for a fact would see me as like the most arrogant in this company are just the oldest ones. It's like proportional almost, the equation, like your age to your level of, like, you know, ego sensitivity, if that makes sense.
They think you're 24, you don't know nothing, you haven't experienced a life. You're like, that has nothing to do with math, nothing.
Yeah, and it's like, it's almost, I want to tell them like, dude, like, it's not that I'm better than you. It's like, you have no reason to know what I know, because you're just not born in the time to know this. Like,
it's a gift,
and I'm willingly giving it to you for free. Like, I'm not even asking for more money. I'm just, I mean, you at least say good job, Dennis. I'm not even asking for more money.
This is what, and this is going to be hard to accept, but listen, this is genius level. Okay, this is what they consider genius. Because
I hear that a lot too, and I'm like, no,
but listen, you see the way I rewrote Einstein's quote, I added to it.
Yeah.
Did you hear when I did that? The compound interest thing?
I'll just say it again for me.
You know the compound interest where he says the eighth compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world.
Oh yeah.
You ever heard that Einstein quote before?
Yeah.
Okay. I added to it because people don't know that Einstein is talking about positive and negative compound interest. But in his quote, he's only saying the word it. He's saying people who understand people who understand it earn it. People who don't pay it, right? He's saying it. By saying it, he's assuming that debt slave know compound interest is positive and negative. So I just added to it. I said, people who know compound interest earn positive compound interest. He who doesn't pays negative compound interest. That makes it more clear. Which is a genius thing, right? It's genius. So when the more it will make you less irritated once you start to accept that you are now at genius level at 24. Debt slaves are the currency. It must be that way, and it's always going to be that way until we're all dead.
Yep.
You will.
And when I hear what you mean now when you say it must be that way too. I used to like be confused, but like, you're not saying that it must be that way because like the hand of God said it would be that way. You're saying that like that is just like almost like fucking Sorry. I mean, it's almost like plants eating trees. I mean, I'm sorry, like, plants eating oxygen for CO2 or whatever. I think that's
See how you trying to turn something psychological into physical, and you can't get the right physical word? Because you're trying to turn something psychological into physical. Okay, pretend it's like a tree that has 5 leaves.
I do that shit all the time, trying to explain it to the slaves. That's why.
Because that's the problem. You're trying to turn something psychological into physical. That's what you're trying to do, and you're trying to use physical objects to do it. You're like, okay, what if grass grew 5 times the rate?
Okay. That's funny, yo. Man, I just swear, I just like remember like the 50 instances when I tried doing that to other people in my life, man. Another thing too is that, like, I know this is not dating minus debt, but I swear to God, I'm like getting yellow flags from one lady friend, and it's not like the worst, but it's definitely,
What you mean? Tell me what you mean. I don't know what that means. Yellow flag. What's that mean?
Oh, like, when you're slave-splaining, essentially.
Oh,
like,
gotcha. Okay. Uh-huh.
And
it's somebody you're seeing?
No, I mean, the thing is, like, the whole $10,000 student loan thing is like putting him out into the open. Like, it's like
right,
so clear now.
right.
So clear.
They're telling on themselves. It's me. I'm a debt slave.
It's like, what's that show where they had red light, green light? Squid Game or whatever.
I heard of it. I never watched it though.
It was like just people taking themselves out like the entire time. That's what this is.
Okay. Once you really accept it, because I've been reading what's the Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, right? Mm-hmm. He talks about genius and what it really is. Genius is knowing something that billions of people don't know. Because think about it, capitalism is all over the world. So that means we know something more than billions of people, not millions, but billions. Because it's worldwide. So that's genius level. And it says it in the book. Here's a guy that wrote this book in the 1800s, somewhere around there, early 1900s, something like that. And he's just talking math.
Wait, say that again. What he said? I'm sorry.
How can I? There I go. I'm trying to turn something physical into psychological.
I just exactly. To repeat exactly what you said. I just spaced out, my fault.
Right. I can't.
It's chill.
No,
I read that book as well.
Yeah, just now that when's the last time you read it? When's the last time you read it?
Oh, had to be like fucking sophomore year of high school.
Okay, so before you were free.
Before I even know what enslavement was. Correct. Yeah.
So now if you go back and read that book today, it's going to be a different book for you. It's going to be a different book.
Yeah. I've had that realization for a couple books.
Okay, good. That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. The words are different because when I got that book before or during when I was getting out of debt. And then I recently started reading it again. And then the words that he's saying is way different and clear.
Wow. I'm put down the list to read it again, then.
For sure.
Yeah, you can find that anywhere.
It's crazy. It's when he's talking about a lot of things, because I always tell people before I read that part again, I remember, when you own yourself, I kept telling people sex is different. It doesn't control you as a man like that anymore. People don't really get that. But then you go into the book, he explains it's called transmutation or something. Now you use that energy for something else. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're 24, man. 24. You're gonna be killing the game. Whatever you decide, whatever you come into doing, you're gonna kill it.
I'm already wiping the floor. It's
I
just
bet.
Like 24 years old. It's just like, oh, he doesn't.
You're gonna be the biggest asshole. Everybody's gonna call you asshole. Oh, he's an asshole. He thinks he's all that. He thinks he's smarter than everybody. He could be like, what?
But the people who know will know that it's just clear that I am the best.
Correct.
And those are the people who will be under me.
When you become a multimillionaire owning the business, we're going to talk about like, we already knew that. We knew that when you was 24. We already knew that.
I told my boss that as well. Like my, I guess, business director of the the whole company. I told him like, dude, when I get my own like engineers, I just want my own pick of the litter. I need to pick who I know knows almost.
Right.
But he wasn't. I don't know. I actually got to ask you about something that he said too. Like, this is the top guy who like almost is the business guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's what he is, the business guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he was telling me something of some advice. He was saying like, you know, Dennis, you're young. Like every 3 years you should be like buying a house or like, you know, basically like getting something every 3 years in real estate. And I mean, again, like I'm working on not putting my mask down. So I was like, oh yeah, for sure. Like I'm working on a down payment for something next year, you know. I didn't exactly know how to navigate the situation, but
well, first you gotta determine what he means by own. Do you say, oh, you mean by every 3 years? Do I use a mortgage to do that, or do I pay cash? If he responds with a mortgage, you know he's talking from a debt slave perspective.
Well, he was saying mortgage. Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Yeah, so
I even asked him. I said, like, wouldn't you be over levered? And he was like, no, I mean, you're young. You know, you got time to work,
right?
Make more hours and make more payments. And I was like, huh.
That's when you tune him out.
This means.
I'm talking to a debt slave. That's what you do. Just tune him out. Like
yeah, well, he followed that up with also saying like, yeah, this company has a lot of job security for the next 3 years. You know, you should be good. And I'm like, 3 years? You know, mortgage is 30 years. I didn't say that though.
You didn't say that though out loud. You said that in your mind, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm trying again not to pull my mask out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because he probably thinks that I'm like, you know, an idiot enough to actually go like 2 or 3 houses in mortgage debt personally.
Right.
Like
he's a debt slave.
But then he was saying like that's what he did and all this stuff. And I was like, well, that probably explains a lot why you can't fucking focus on your goddamn job.
See, internal voice. Okay. Because you still got to function in the real world, right?
Exactly.
You
still
can't
got to
function. That. You can't say that. You got to blend in. You got to be just no different than the movie The Matrix. You know, you got to blend in.
You got to give the people what they want.
You do. You got to understand their purpose and accept it. And it is the way it is.
Crazy.
24, man. You're not. You're young enough to get a mortgage if you need to, but it'll be a mortgage from a repossessed, tax owed property, even something that you bought for $100,000, pay it off. You're good for the rest of your life. Done.
Well, even if I were to get a mortgage now and like fucking put 3% down or whatever, like that's the only debt I'll have. So it will just be like, it'll just be gone like in no time. So like,
so you have time. Really you have time on your side, right? You have time on your side. So I'm not even saying do it because you know once you get that mortgage, you know you're not free no more, right?
I know that, yeah.
Okay. Now, so that'll be a hard.
Well, I have one question though about that. Like, say, all right, just for mathematic wise, like, say a house is $400,000, right? So technically, wouldn't I, in order to be, you know, free, I guess, you'd need only $201 or $200,001, if that makes sense?
No, why are you saying that number?
Oh, I forgot because home equity doesn't actually exist.
No, it doesn't. Only for the owner of the house, the person that buys it.
Yeah.
Yeah, equity is a word. It's not. They think it's money. It's not money. It's a word. It's a word
for business, though. Does it?
Business-wise, that's different. If you're talking about business debt, of course, that's different. That's okay. Because you're not paying for it. Personal debt, you pay back. Business debt, your customers pay back. That's the difference.
Yeah, so it doesn't even make sense to put a house in a business name if you're the one going to be living in it, though, right?
No, it does. Like Elon, he did it. He bought a house that's under the business name, and he pays rent to it. So basically, he's paying himself with a write-off.
Yeah. Then that's when it's like a thing of like, oh, you need 25%, not 3%. And that's like, obviously, you need that to buy a home in the first place.
Put it this way. If you went to go buy a house, and say like you were 24, no debt, and $100,000 in the bank, and then you go to the bank and ask for a mortgage, they're not going to insult you with anything less than the best mortgage on the market.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but yeah.
Yeah, if you even come to it, you might not even come to it. You might just say, I'm gonna go straight into a business, and I'm gonna have the debt slaves buy my first house. Period.
Oh my God, that's another I forgot to say when you were talking about like I think I'm to the point now, you know, I was saying I'm like the limitless guy. Like I could recreate this entire thing in any part of the world. Like
right.
It's insane. And
Right.
matter of fact, if I went to Europe with it, it would probably be even better.
Europe's capitalist though, right?
I mean, I think so. Kinda, I hope.
No, they have to be for you to go over there and do things right. It has to be they had to be capitalists.
That's the thing. Like, I wonder who is the consultant I can hire to like guide me through all the regulation and just get me to like doing the job, you know.
You know, if I went to say like you decided to go over to the UK, which is also capitalist too, right? And you don't know anything, but long as they're capitalist, them being capitalist is the only thing you need to know. So you would just hire a person, because I'm sure they got a credit system set up over there the same, similar way, but a little different. You just hire all the people who are personally debt free in those key points, and you would be successful. You don't have to know it. You just hire the right. You just know how to hire the right people that already know it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I need to find.
That's it. And how do you do that? Let me see. If you go to the UK, it's probably our credit report is probably called something different. It doesn't really matter the name. You just know what it is and say, okay, that's it. All right, let me hire a person that's debt free and that understands it. And that's it. Then you'd be successful.
Yep. And I'm kind of thinking about the credit report. Like, it makes sense why there's a score, because you can't actually do the SMD calc from the credit report because you don't know what the S is. Like, there's no savings part of the credit report.
Correct.
It's only about what someone else. So that's why you need the score to like almost estimate or almost back calculate what they have in their bank account, because they're not making payments if they don't have money.
Well, and plus a score is that's just thank you points for staying in debt. It's not a big deal. It's just an indicator. When you see when somebody brags about their credit score as a person that understands that capitalism is psychological, it just says, hey, this person pays back the bank's money on time. A low credit score means you don't. That's it.
Yep.
It don't mean anything.
Hey, what's going on, LJ?
What's up, Nick?
What's going on, Dennis?
What's up?
Yeah, guys. Nick? Yeah, I was listening from the clouds, guys, and I was just thinking, Dennis, man, you're gonna have to keep your mask on. You a young man, like you 24 years old, like. Yeah, you're gonna start
I know, man.
About refinancing his crib. Oh yeah, we're doing good at the company. You know, you're gonna have to keep your mask on.
It's just the confidence that they say it with is just baffling.
Yeah, don't go to the boss saying, hey boss, what you doing, boss? Like, you know you shouldn't be refining. You know you ain't had the money for that house, right? Don't go doing that.
Right. Ain't no employee coming up to the boss saying that. That is not happening.
Yeah, just say congratulations, man. You know, I started seeing people like, you know, the Instagram, LJ talks about it. You know, people showing their keys. Oh, I just got a house. 500 likes. You know what I'm saying? All death things. You know what I'm saying? You just got to say congratulations.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Like, it's good that you have this knowledge so early on. Look, I'm young too. Like, I'm 32. So, you know, LJ blessed me with the knowledge, SavingsMinusDebt family, and I'm just running with it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that's what you got to do, bro.
And it's inspirational almost, because I feel like now that I'm actually out of college and shit, like this is the first time in my life where I almost feel like, you know, I'm the captain of the ship, but now I'm like looking back and I was like, I always was. What the hell?
Yeah, facts, man. Like, it's the social pressure. Like, you know, you start seeing people do this and do that, and then you start, you know, you get vibes that, oh, why are you living like this? And it's because you got information that, you know, they don't necessarily have. But
yeah.
So you paid off all your student loans, or you just never had student loans? Because I heard you say you went to college.
Yeah, I just paid them off.
Oh, okay,
I had like
good,
probably
bro.
$16K. I'm kind of salty almost with this whole $10K. You know what else? I forgot to say this too. One of the other like people that I work with, they were like, "Oh, Dennis, you should like call and like get a refund on your payments or whatever." And I'm like, I mean, I can't lie. Like, I am a little salty if I don't get anything back, especially since like 2021 was the year that I paid everything off.
Right. So you feeling like you're duped because you were like, "Oh, should I pay him off or shouldn't I pay him off?" This is what I was telling LJ the other day, and you really got to think about that. Are you the sucker for paying them off, or you know what I'm saying? Or
you know what it really is? This is what it really is, Nick. Because you guys think it's money. That's not money. Why you guys think they're not getting $10,000 off of nothing? That's not real.
It's money to me though. Not to them.
That's your imagination then. That's your imagination playing tricks on you. It's not money.
No, I know what you're saying. I'm saying like if I don't get 10K like cash money, like it would be useful to me, not to someone who just gets a negative.
No, what I'm saying is that them taking off saying that they're taking off $10,000 of something. No, they're not. No, they're not. It looks like that, but they're not.
Yeah.
Because it never existed. Would you like think about it? Really think about it. All these people have had student loan debt for years. Them taking off $10,000 barely makes a dent in the interest. Barely that they've earned. Barely.
It just tricks them into spending more.
It makes them think that they really are getting off money, but they're not. They're just taking off they're just taking a cut in their interest. Nothing more.
Dennis, let me ask you this, brother. What did you do to pay off the debt?
I just like clicked the button on the screen.
Hey, that's weird.
It was that easy.
The same thing Nick did.
Hey, come
that's
on,
weird.
Dennis. Come on, Dennis.
Nah, I'm joking.
Like, look,
I mean, to get my money up, really, I just fucking lived at home. I mean, to be honest.
Oh, okay. So, like, when you work a regular job, like, did you do sales? I know a lot of times, like, you need big chunks of income to attack the debt. So, what was your strategy to do it?
I just didn't have expenses, so like the money was just there to put it into the student loans.
Right. Now, did you have to live a certain lifestyle? Like, was there like, oh, I want to live like this, but I want to pay off the debt aggressively, so I'm going to do this? Like, what type of scenario?
Not really. I was still buying shit at the bar, you know, getting my little butt on the side. I don't know if you can say it on YouTube.
Oh, I feel you, bro. I feel you, bro.
And you got to remember, Dennis is 24, so he's not deep in the matrix. You know, he wasn't that deep at all. With the little bit of knowledge he had not to do certain things already, the common sense type of shit, and then you wake up with this knowledge, you're not really deep. So it's not.
The reason why I'm a little confused is because like I'm living the same kind of lifestyle I am now. Right. So it's like I could have paid off my student loans 3-4 times over by now already. It's just like math, you know.
Okay. So obviously, other people tend to fall into the debt matrix deeper than you did. So like for me,
for sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like sometimes there's like a pain or something that you go through that teaches you the lesson. Like for example, I got my car repoed from me. I came outside and it was gone, and that was tragic to me. So I already like when that happened, I was like, oh shit, like. That wasn't mine. Shit, like, you know what I'm saying? And like, so, Dennis, did something happen to you where you're like, oh shit, I'm not going down that path?
I think honestly, I was watching LJ since like senior year of college. I'm not sure.
Ooh.
Wow.
But I'm not exactly sure about that.
Wow.
LJ, you caught him early before he fell into the debt matrix.
I do. I feel proud,
but
man.
I'm only like 2 or 3 years out from that time.
But look. Think about this, Dennis. Like, did you see your other friends like going into debt more, like financing cars, going to school longer?
I did, but I mean, from that point in the future, for sure. I mean, yeah, and even in the past though, I didn't really know what it was. You know, I didn't know that it was the Matrix. I thought I was just poor.
Wow.
But I'm not even poor. I come from like a middle class family. It's just people have credit cards, not me.
This is what I mean. Like when SMD blows up around the world, right? You guys are going to be S&D counselors, and it's going to be wonderful because you guys are going to be at different ages, right? So say like it was worldwide right now, and you guys were both S&D counselors. Another 24-year-old person would relate better to Dennis than a 30-year-old person would relate to you, Nick, because you have more experiences. You can tell them what to do, not to do. A 24-year-old person is not necessarily going to know your experiences.
LJ, they see you with that beard, bro. They're like, oh, he got a gray beard. He don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, this guy's crazy.
I know. You guys haven't seen my beard in a long time. It's got long, too, so you guys will see it. I'll be on camera soon.
This guy is crazy, man. Look at this guy. Like, you see what I'm saying? But when they hear Dennis talk about it, you know what I'm saying? They hear me in my age category, LJ, exactly what you're saying. They can relate. They're like, oh, wow, these guys are saying it, too.
Because
I think I told you that before. Like when I first listened to you, I was telling you, or when I first got on the mic, I think I said like, "Oh, LJ, like, you know, I just found a job and like, it's just like I'm already have foot on the gas, you know. Thank you." You remember that?
I do. I remember that. When we first got on, I do.
So Dennis, how are you moving forward, bro? Like, obviously you see other people around you going deeper in the debt matrix. Like, what's your moves going forward with this knowledge?
I mean, number one, like I said, is just give the people what they want. I mean, and just, it's almost like a habit, I think, to like pull my mask down. Cause like, you know, I want to help, you know, like I want to help people, but it's like, it's almost like the teacher will appear when the student is ready type thing.
Right. That's what happened with me. Yep. That's what happened to me and LJ. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is the missing piece.
Yeah. See, you got to be ready to hear it. Like, and you guys both of you guys are at the level now. You guys really know to listen for the right questions, right? You know which are the right questions. Not like, oh, that ain't true. You can't buy more. Okay, I'm not talking to you. But if somebody says, what do you mean a mortgage doesn't buy a house? Okay, that's the right question. Then you're like, oh, then you just throw a little piece out at them, see how they respond. If they respond like a debt slave, you just cut it right there. Done.
I'm going to say, Dennis, look, you have a car right now?
I had a couple cars already.
Okay, like, if my first move would be in your position, especially if you have housing, you're living at home, get your car in cash. You get your car in cash.
Oh, yeah, I have that. I do have that.
Right. And you want to get a mechanic. That's the next thing. Because then
I have that too.
If you get your car in cash, it's going to break down. This is why I got you're not going to get a warranty. That's what they're going to say. Oh, this is why I financed my car, because I want the security, right? So they take out all the debt thinking they're going to get security of a warranty. All you need is a mechanic. Mm-hmm. And so many younger people need to know this. You need a reliable mechanic, right? Because prepare for it to break down if something to happen. You don't need to get the super expensive car, you know, spend $5,000, something like that, and be like, okay, this is going to break down in like probably like 9 months to 12 months. So stack your bread and have it right there. Any repairs you need, now you're setting yourself up where you can save money for a house. I think that would be your next move. Go start looking for houses, you know, maybe get something off, what's that, foreclosure market, something like that.
Correct.
Right? You get a cheap house and now you can fix it up. You got your car paid off. You got into the house. It might be a little run down or whatnot. Or, hey, let's say you got a lot of cash. Get something nice. You know, it don't necessarily got to be run down. But that would be my move going forward. What are your thoughts on that, LJ?
Well, Dennis is ahead of the game. Okay. He's way ahead of the game. Like, I think that information is it's definitely for the younger generation, but Dennis himself is way ahead of the game. And for you, because you gotta remember, Nick, you're still young. I want you to understand, you're still young, right? Both you and Dennis are targets, but your age right now is the target. You can help.
Oh, I get all the mail too. The mail from all the banks, all the credit cards, pre-qualified. They know.
Yep.
Yeah. I think your age group is the target though, Nick, and you will be able to help a lot of people if they're ready, like you were. You can't try not to forget that you had to be ready to hear me. So now you have this gift to make sure you're listening. If they have the right question, if they not, don't waste your time.
Right. Now, Dennis, let's go back to that button moment. I'm not sure if you know.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if you know, but I was like, LJ, like, you know, before I pay this 40 racks, you know, it was nerve-wracking. It's like, because like you start thinking about everything you could do with that money, right? Oh, I could go get this, I can go get that. And then see, nobody's gonna have a party when you pay off your student loans. No, it's not gonna be like some confetti that busts out the ceiling or an achievement.
Oh yeah.
Right?
No, it was a little like that, but it was more personal to me. Like there's like a family member I have who's like kind of conniving and evil and like almost is like he knows he knows SMD, but he uses it for like nefarious purposes. But he doesn't know that I know too, that I know that he knows, if that makes sense. So I told him that, like, he was the first person I told off that I paid my student loans off. And like, I know he was like planning for me to like go work at his company, like family business, like he's gonna pay me like shit. And then he looked at me, he was like, "Oh, wow," and he said nothing else. And I said, "Yep."
Oh, so he was
because he knew I was out of his grasp.
He was hoping you was a debt slave, but then when he realized that, oh, he knew about savings by his debt, he knew that he might have to move a certain way with you.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't know about SMD, but he knows like he is out of the matrix, but he's just like he's one of those Agent Smiths, honestly.
But yeah, man, like I was saying, like I had LJ with me like before I paid that money, man, because it's just like, you know, you thinking that, oh, should I do this or not? And it's definitely the right way. And it's because it's about your freedom, you know. So
yeah, once you guys, for both you guys, once you put time, number one, always, no matter what situation you're in, you put time, you will always be successful. As long as you put time. If you get into a situation, does this take away some of the time of my life? Yep. Nope. Sorry. Not doing that. Sorry.
Oh, I forgot to say that too, LJ. I told you, like, I had a lot of stuff to say, man. Like, I started at work also just like charging bonus days for like extra work, and I just don't even care anymore. Like, I literally telling them like, oh, you know, like, this is not technically part of my job description. Like, I can do it. I don't care. I can do it, and I'll probably do it better than anybody else. But if you're gonna do it, I'm gonna pay me the extra 8 hours on Saturday. Like,
hell yeah,
right?
And they do it,
right?
And I was like, wow.
Of course,
all I had to do really was ask.
You just say it. All you gotta do is ask. Exactly.
And it's not that I ask it because I actually believe it. Like it's actually true.
I know it's true, and you know in your mind it's true, so it's true. Well, that makes it true.
Well, what happens, OJ, you start valuing his time. So
correct.
As soon as you get out of debt and you realize, oh wow, or even before you get out of debt, like for people who are listening, if you're deep in debt and you figured it out and you're here, you realize that time is the most valuable thing, and now you realize that, wow, I got to put in all this extra time for me to get out of debt, so then I can start really being able to negotiate my time. And that's exactly what Dennis did to get that raise.
And you know what I'm envious about you guys, young men, because I will never be able to experience this. You guys get to experience dating relationships as a person that understands. It's going to be very different for you, right? So I can only just listen to you guys' experiences, right? Because it's going to be very, you guys are the target. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny. It's funny because look, with the confidence, right, that you get, that LJ always talks about, see, that's attractive, right? And you know, when you start getting these wins, Dennis, at your job, it's going to build your confidence, and you know, women are going to pick up on that. But now you're going to think twice when you realize that, hey, look, I make a mistake here or something like that. You can have a kid, you know, you lock down, and then look, you got to hope that she's woke. You got to hope that she's not deep in that matrix, because look, you mess around and get a relationship with the wrong person and they're not woke yet. Now they're going to have these expectations of you to do things. And if they're not there, that relationship is, guess what, LJ?
Yes, done.
That relationship is done.
And when you and at your age, you guys having sex and stuff, you're gonna put the condom on. You be like, ooh, am I gonna risk my entire future for this piece of plastic that they don't guarantee? They don't even guarantee it. They say this is not 100%. You're gonna be like, ooh, you're a debt slave, right? Yeah. Oh gosh. You're gonna think twice.
No cap.
Right. And it's funny because look. It's funny because I even had a conversation with the lady not too long ago, and you know, we're able to do this and that, if you know what I mean. But then I asked her, we start getting a conversation going. I start pulling my mask down just a little bit. So
yeah.
And she didn't want to tell me certain information. Let me just keep it at that. I was like, oh, so what's this? What's that? You guys know the questions I'm talking about.
Of
hey,
course.
You got student loan debt. Oh, we're not like that. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I seen you naked. You see me naked. But then they look. They don't want to talk about that. That's too personal. Credit report.
Oh shit! She said we ain't like that, but you see the naked.
Listen. What do you mean? How much y'all got student loan debt?
Oh my God!
What you mean? Am I in debt? Oh, that's a personal question. But I've seen everything.
Yeah, because I want people to really understand the opposite. When you have this type of confidence, the opposite sex picks up on that. They don't know why, right? They don't know why they're doing that, but you know the energy that you're emitting because you're vibrating at a different level. They don't know why. Why is this dude so confident? Why is he talking like that? You know?
Yo, no cap. I be doing debt slave shit just for the rush. Like for example, like I like racked up like $8,000 in credit card debt, but I have like in like business expenses, like I'm gonna get the money back straight from my business. But to like see the number there, like, oh, like this is what I could do. Oh wow, this is how it feels like. Oh yeah. But it's not really that because I know I could just pay it off whenever I felt like it. But
look, the funny thing is when you start going to the events together.
What you saying?
You gotta look. The funny thing is when you start going to the events together, right?
Ooh.
Or you get in their relationship stuff, and then you got to fit in with the other debt slaves.
Oh my God. See, that's what
you got to pretend you don't know.
You guys are at the level you wouldn't even let that happen. I don't believe either one of you would allow yourself to get attached to a debt slave, to even go that far to have to meet their friends.
I would feel bad because I know it's not gonna go nowhere.
Well, you wouldn't even let it go that far to even have to feel bad about it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
See, you're on mute.
Like as a man, I don't know how to let a girl down easy, honestly.
See, like I imagine myself at your age with this knowledge, I wouldn't let it even get that far to have to let anybody down because it would never get that far.
Well, and it's strange because then that takes it's almost like a pressure that's taken out when it comes to like when you understand that, okay, it's probably not going to get that far, especially if she's having trouble with that type of question, you automatically know she's not woke yet,
right?
Or he, right? Or whoever you're dealing with, right? So I don't know. It almost takes the pressure off.
Well, I imagine if I was you guys' age dating and I enjoyed the company of a woman, right? But she's a debt slave. I would think, and I really literally enjoy being with, but after a while, she's going to start wondering why you don't want to have sex with her. And then she's going to think, oh, something wrong.
Or why you don't want to go wrong. Right?
Right. You can't turn to him and say, it's because you're a debt slave. You can't say that. You're in debt. I don't want to accidentally get you pregnant because I'll be trapping myself to the debt. You can't say stuff like that. That's seriously pulling down your ass.
Or what else, LJ? You start having
I would say something like that
from the jump. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's probably what's most likely going to happen. You're just going to have that conversation at some point.
In the beginning, yes.
In the beginning. And then they're going to see that you're different. Because most guys are not even going to, have that is very true.
That is very true. You guys will definitely have that conversation at the beginning. So if you guys hang out and if you tell them from the beginning that this is not going to be anything more, and then they decide to make it feel that way in their mind, you can just refer back to what you told them in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
A good way to ease them into it, Dennis, is just send them LJ's videos. just randomly.
But then they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're so arrogant! Like you're sending me stuff."
No.
Like,
don't even tell her why you're sending it. Like, oh yeah, I found this video. Like it's really interesting. Check this out.
Oh yeah, like that angle. Yeah, I know that angle.
Don't send them this video though.
I wonder what happens when my videos are sent to other people. I wonder what happens.
Me too.
God, I wish I could be there as they watch it. Are they calling me a prick? Or they think I'm an asshole? What do they think?
I put you on in the car one time with another guy that I know knows, but he never like put it into words like you did, and he was just laughing. He just couldn't stop laughing, like, and that same thing to me, like, I almost couldn't stop laughing too the first time. It was just funny, like, wow.
Man. All right, fellas, we're gonna wrap this up, man. It's like 3 hours. We're gonna wrap this up.
No, yeah.
All right, LJ. Hey,
all right,
for having me up.
Yeah.
All right, Dennis, SMD family. Yo, Life North of Zero. Yo, keep it going, guys.
Appreciate you, man.
Yep. Always a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
All right.
See
Thank you. Thank you both. You know, I'm excited. Like when you guys become multimillionaires and we rent out, say like when you guys all of us become multimillionaires and then we rent out some lavish resort somewhere. This is what I'm picturing in my mind. We all get together as a SMD get together or whatever we call it back then, and we rent out because we all have money. So we'll rent out the whole resort for a week, pay cash for it, of course, rent out the whole resort. Can you imagine the laughter, the stories, because we can be ourselves at the resort. We don't have to worry about pulling down our masks. We could just be ourselves, right? The stories we're going to share, oh man, that's going to be amazing. Just laughing, funny, everything's funny. Just because, you know, you try to tell a debt slave a SMD joke, they don't think it's funny. But we will be laughing just at the funny stuff, you know, just like you saw when Dennis and I were talking just a minute ago, we're laughing about, hey, Dennis, you're trying to take something psychological and turn it into the physical. And then we just start laughing and laughing. A debt slave would be like, what's so funny? I don't get it. That's not funny. What do you mean? Why are you laughing about taking something psychological to physical? That's going to happen. I promise you, that's going to happen. It's going to be a SMD resort, something, rent out the nicest, beautiful, most depth place in the world. And first, you're going to start in the United States. Find the most nicest place in the United States, rent it out for a week, and stay there. Everybody's going to be like, what? You know how much that place is a day? Yeah, we know. We're going to all write it off, too. That's what we're going to that's what we're going to do. We're going to write it off. Because it's business. Guess what? No, why, debt slave? You guys are going to pay for the resort. You are. We're not really going to pay for it for a week. You're going to pay for it for a week. Okay? Get it? And there's nothing you could do about it but not be a debt slave. Man, you Man, that's a long one, Andre. Usually you cut things off by that time. I'm surprised you went that long. I was kind of, as I'm up on the map, kind of reading it. I'm like, he's clearly a debt slave. Clearly. That's a waste of time for me. Sorry. No, not doing any of that. No. You guys always got to remember, when you get yourself caught up trying to convince, now this is what you're doing. Not saying you, Andre, I'm just saying in general. This is what you're doing. You are trying to convince, instead of showing them the calculator, you are trying to convince someone of the calculator. That is the definition of insanity. Trying to get somebody to believe the calculator. Come on, man. Just believe it. Look. Just believe. What? No. All right, I'm about to wrap this up. Thank you, everybody, for joining. All the new people, thank you. This is Genius Level. Why do I call myself a genius? Because psychological capitalism is genius, and I believe in it. So that makes me genius too. I didn't say I was the only genius. I just said I'm part of genius. I'm not the only genius. But you guys will see. You'll see once SMD becomes worldwide, I don't want you to be shocked because I've been telling you that already. When I'm one of the most one of the best motivational speakers in the world, when I become that, don't be shocked because I'm telling you already. I'm telling you today. I'm telling you right now because I already am. I already am one of the most recognized motivational speakers in the world. The world just doesn't know it yet. That's all. The first person that has to know it is me. Now I know. Now it will be. If I say it enough, it becomes true. All right, you guys have a good day. Later. Good afternoon. Later.